possibility should be, if it's should be to strike in the center now with c5, but it looks too loose.
Yes,
somehow.
maybe I should start with knight a6 with some ideas like c5. That would at least support c5, and maybe has at some moment also knight b4 to come.
And if e4 want to...
I will probably first play, well, knight b4 doesn't help too much. Maybe I will just take on e4 and you take, and maybe I will also exchange on e4 perhaps, and then play bishop e6 with a tempo, something like that, unless you can play d5, but then you give me the square on c5, which is maybe not that bad.
Maybe white goes queen e2 or something. Just
that's of course possible,
but I wasn't so thrilled about this one. I liked bishop f5 more than, even though he actually played c5 in one go here.
That could actually work out, because after d takes c5 there's knight a6, and probably you cannot really protect c5 in a good way. Actually, I like the way black handled this. I mean, this a5 idea is new to me, so I will copy it as a Slav player myself. So there is actually some good point about it.
It might be, well, justified, since white haven't played the most active moves, knight bd2, and this move h3 might not be
needed
useful in the, well, especially not in the struggle for the center, or to open the center. So I guess at least one pawn should be traded here.
Yes, because okay, after c takes d4, if e takes d4, you would get an isolated pawn, and I think this is not great in this kind of structure. So I think white should react now in capturing something, but it's not clear to me which pawn to take. Actually, I like black's position already, like a little bit more, because it looks more, practically speaking, it looks somehow easier.
And in case of d takes c5, also you open up this
bishop, yeah.
Bishop, and now after
knight a6.
a6, and if it can take here, you can also perhaps gain some extra time hitting the bishop when you take. So
no, for this reason, actually, like white has to be very careful here, and I'm not sure like what is the best reaction for white in this position.
Yes, the thing is, like, if you play b3, I guess you just take on d4, right?
Yes, I will take one time, and probably knight takes d4 is bad because of e5,
yes.
and you have to take with the pawn.
This is probably
looks
well,
at least
almost
a little bit suspicious for white.
Looks very strange. Yes. I guess he takes, but then
maybe even knight c6 simply.
Yes.
Bishop b2, I guess.
Yes, bishop b2, but here black should feels like black should be the one
who's actually
having chances of an edge somehow. I don't know if you should push a4 or not.
Probably I would not even hesitate now to push a4. Because, okay, maybe he just takes, even though the pawn structure is very bad. But then I take on c4, but okay, the pawn is not yet under attack. Or I ignore it, actually. How to say? I saw another idea. Instead of a4 could be just b6 and bishop a6. and then try to hit indirectly on c4 a little bit and increase the pressure. Bishop a6, rook c8, play like that.
Yes, I guess something like rook c1 maybe.
Then bishop a6.
And maybe...
well, queen e2, you go, yeah, it's possible, rook c8. And then...
I guess this is playable for white, but doesn't seem to offer him
anything, yeah.
No, not any kind of...
We can look at next game.
Yes, and okay, we can see that they he took on d5 and played knight b3. But we will find the other games now as well. So yesterday, well, we had them both talking with us, but especially Nabatis, they wanted to. He was really confused, I guess, about all his games.
Yes, it was actually quite. He had only messy games, and I think it took a lot of his nerves. So it's surprising that he chose something so solid today. Bishop c5 is actually the best move according to theory against the knight c3 setup.
This one is not seen that much in the Roy Lopez.
Nope.
I think.
But the ideas are, for example, if I'm not mistaken, if bishop e7, then you take on c6.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I mean, maybe I confuse it, but I think I don't.
So in case of bishop e7, you want to take...
I take, and then I will play a3. And then you wait for short castle, and then you would play at some point with d4. There is such kind of setup, and you try to attack on the king side. But I'm not sure, maybe I'm confusing it, but I know that there are some ideas with bishop takes c6 in this kind of setup. But here with bishop c5, you don't do that.
Well, he played the bishop c5, and well, it looks quite normal, since with the knight on c3, it's much harder to hit the bishop in the center with the pawns, let's say. So the bishop is perhaps more safe in this fashion on this diagonal.
Yes, also like if you take now on c6, I have queen e7 to protect the pawn on e7. That may make a difference in this setup. That's why you don't take on c6 anymore after bishop c5. So this could be one of the reasonings why bishop c5 is, according to modern theory, the best reply.
I suspect that this have been played before, even though I have not seen this exact position. But we see some trades, and the position don't look too...
I think that the goal of Grandmaster Benjamin is basically to keep the position quite undynamic, which is a good choice against Nabati. because as far we could see yesterday, he's a very dynamic and strong tactician. So to choose some kind of boring structures with no tactics involved gives him better chances, I believe.
Now we see that Black lost his right to castle, but it probably doesn't
Matter much
since, well, the position is close and white don't really have any pieces to attack the black king here.
But now maybe already like we can attack the queen side with a4.
Yes, a4 looks normal. Because we can, I guess we can easily imagine an endgame if you take on f3. We can
take with the queen.
Take with the queen and, well, sorry. And, well, therefore a4 might be a move, and perhaps we can see an endgame like this.
But it looks a little bit easier for white to play, even so it has a very drawish character, as we have different colored bishop endings. And well, but okay, black doesn't have an easy life because he will lose the a file, and b5 is very weak, and that's actually something which is, psychologically speaking at least, not the most enjoyable outcome to play.
This bishop is very strong since it's controlling the a8 square and also hits the b5 pawn.
Maybe it was more clever to bring the bishop to a7 in the to have rook b6 at some point. But okay. I mean, after b4, maybe it was.
But
it's too late then because of a4.
But yes, now it's too late, right? Because you can use.
Late, yes. But probably after b4, bishop a7 is already too late because of a4. Because otherwise bishop a7 would have gotten my preference.
Well, he did play a4, so maybe black should find something better than to take. The thing is, like, well, in a sense, you are already defending this pawn because, let's say, after, if I just make a move, and well, like this, if you play h6, you can take, and if you take, you can take on f2 and take on b5, but even this looks good for white now since the a file is open.
Okay, maybe I can still like defend with rook c8 and then king f8, and that's more or less okay. But yes, it's not necessary for white to capture on b5.
You don't have to take immediately, since black cannot really defend this pawn any further.
Yes, you can even consider here king e2 as a move. Because
yes,
you on b5, and you know that anyway the king in short castle, like once it is exchanged, the king is better in the center. There's no attacks available.
Or just
or castle is also possible, but actually I like king e2 because okay, I get my queen to move freely. You don't have a king side attack, and b5 is under attack as well.
Okay, he haven't
yet moved anything, right?
No, h6 is not played. Should I find the other games here as well?
We have still the game of Shimanov.
Yes.
And the game of Mager. I don't know.
Marger Petersson, yes.
Yeah.
So, yes, this is the game between Marger Petersson playing white against Shimanov. And we have seen a lot of games with the English opening.
Mm.
And now he played C6 here right away, which
And
was
that in the game of Jakovic with white against Wiedenkeller, it was knight f3, e4, knight e4, and queen b6, and I think this is a repetition.
yes, only bishop g2 and knight f6
was included, but probably we'll get to the same position
Yes.
actually, and we will. I see it already.
Knight f6, yes. So this is the same line, and in that game, Wiedenkeller really didn't find a good solution for black. So,
but d3 wasn't played. If I remember correctly, he took on d5 and he played castle and knight c3.
So this is something else. D3 takes. So, black don't have this pawn in the center that he needs to defend in this game.
And actually, like the queen on d3 also looks a bit misplaced. So, I mean, black got a lot of tempo in the opening, so I'm not sure about the move d3 at all.
No, I can't see why black should have any problems, because I guess you're just have a lot of time to play bishop e7 and castling here. And white is perhaps the one with the dubious development here.
Okay, he went to c3, but he will not have a good place for the knight on b1 now.
And bishop c5.
Okay, bishop e3, it's good.
Well, already white is more or less fighting for equality, I guess.
Mm.
Yes, this d3 move might be just wrong instead of taking. Castle takes. Even though I suppose I was close to saying that white was okay, but I'm not sure now, since here after knight a4. This pawn was poisoned in the other game, but
not now.
Not now. Now black simply takes this pawn on b2, even though
queen c3.
Was it an option to perhaps take another pawn, but maybe not.
The queen doesn't have so much like squares. When you take on a2, the queen has 0 squares, and then after queen takes a2, queen a5 could be a bit dangerous, because then there are like rook a1 and rook b1 threats to hunt down the queen, perhaps.
With the queen on
a2, yes, because the queen on a2 has 0 squares, and this is something which psychologically you don't want necessarily.
And you also defend this pawn on c6 with the queen standing here. So, well, the material is equal, but I don't really like the white knights here. And now this pawn on a2 seems to be hanging, but
shaky,
perhaps...
if you play queen a1, I can even go rook d2, so I still have another piece to join the attack. So I don't think that queen a1 will, maybe queen b1, but even after queen b1, I may just go for rook d2. And then e2 is also attacked.
e3. But well, the idea is, I guess, if rook d2, you want to have knight d4.
But maybe I can play c5 now.
Yes.
And keep on restricting the knight. Also, knight d4 doesn't yet, I mean, he will take on c3 and then he will play knight d4. Possible, yeah. No, c5 I like.
Yes, just restricting this knight. And
but maybe rook d2 once again could work. No, rook d2 doesn't work because of knight b1.
aha, you have
Knight b1
a
still.
trick here with the knight coming back.
Yeah.
c5 looks good, yes. Black looks in good shape here.
So we have which game not checked?
It is Ralph.
Ralph Ackerson, right.
Yes.
And who he was playing?
He is right. He's playing white against Sergei Volkov.
Volkov, yes, right.
Volkov was the only one winning with 2-0.
Yeah.
And another a6 Slav, but now d4 is not played, so well, this is try to play it more flexible from white, I guess.
Yes, kind of semi-Slav structure.
Waiting with the d4 move.
I think actually, like Ackerson doesn't want Volkov to get in his usual Slav positions because, okay, Volkov has been playing Slav all his life. So he's one of the most experienced Slav players, I would even say. So it makes sense not to get him in his usual structure.
But it's not so easy keeping away from this move later anyway. I don't know if you can perhaps play it with the pawn on d3, but I'm not sure that
d3 and e4.
It's a big problem.
Maybe d3 and e4, but he will not make that.
He puts
he did it, yeah.
The pawn on d3, so well, the idea might be to
prepare e4, I think, on the long run. If you can, maybe rook e1, bishop f1, and then queen e2, and then he will try to push e4 and e5, and leaving out d4 at all. But okay, you play bishop h7 prophylactically against e4 at some point. He did it already now. So
a3. And b4 was played. So he wants to take some space on the queen side, but immediately he took and played c5. So
actually, b4 is very risky from the positional point of view because this can be attacked easily.
You really want to keep the pawn on b4 once it's played, because if you take, you ruin your pawn structure, and give this square for black piece, and if you, well, you can perhaps push it, but it might be good for black to when he takes.
It depends. Maybe not to
yes.
take immediately, because the knight on b5 could be annoying, but at least to keep the tension with a6 against b5 and maybe find a good moment. Maybe also knight e4 could be an interesting idea to come at some point.
Queen c7. Now knight e4. So I guess black have not any kind of problems, but shouldn't be any danger for white either, since it's very
solid structure, actually.
Yes.
A4, yeah. Okay, b6 is actually quite committing in some way.
Yes.
But it has a reason, I guess, because queen c6 has 95.
And also he perhaps, well, since the light square, the bishops are here, he prefer maybe to fix the black pawns on white squares here when he can defend it with a5 later, compared to if black gets the option of fixing the white pawns on the
side, then maybe at some point c4 can be attacked, I guess.
Yes. So
sometimes even like a5, knight e7, knight b6 might be a good idea, but maybe not.
But b6 looks tempting, since you can support it with the a pawn as well.
Yes, and the pawns are not that weak. The only problem would be if I get the knight to c6. So I mean, knight e7, knight b8, knight c6 would be a very natural maneuver. I'm not sure I will make it, but if I make it, then actually I'm very good.
Yes, you would like to bring the knight to c6 here.
And e5 actually prepares it, because once the knight is on b8, maybe knight e5 would happen. So that's why I think he starts with e5 to take the square. And the next ideas could be maybe at some point to maneuver the knight around.
Instead, we can just go to the position, because I think that
we have a result already.
We have the first result here. So Sasikiran offered a draw in this position with the white against Jakovic. Maybe not much
to do here, because I get a5, you get c6, and we will have 4 against 4.
So well, they will play each other one more time today, or maybe more, or they will have some break now for
some time.
Yes.
Oh, in this game a lot of things developed, and it became quite spicy.
Yes, what happened here? He made he went to g5, h3, g4. He made your king e2 move, but
in a different way.
Different now. Yes. But maybe this was a good idea of black to, I don't know, maybe he have to create some counterplay. He cannot just
watch his pawn on b5 dying.
Yes. Rook h4. Okay, so in case you take queen takes f2 is
to come.
Yes,
But it happened actually.
yes, because it is an exchange sacrifice from black.
But actually, one question: if I just take on f2 and I play king e2, I mean, is it really enough compensation for black for this exchange? I can't believe it, because okay, after king e2, where does a bishop go? If it protects h4 by, let's say, playing bishop g3,
e3, yes.
then I have rook a7 to come. And then maybe even like rook a8, exchange one rook, putting the king to f3, and I guess b5 is falling. I don't see any counterplay.
Maybe
this is stronger. This I don't
this is
know.
better, but black here can keep.
The queen's on the board.
Yes.
And against Nabadi, actually, like if I get the offer to exchange the queens, I would take it.
But isn't the black king quite safe? Maybe it's an overstatement, but if you give a check, I can go to d7, right?
Yes, but the idea is to give a check, to have the c4 squared guarded, and then to maybe play rook d1 and to hunt down the queen a little bit. Rook d1 here, and then queen f6, or you stay immediately, you go for queen f6, which is also tempting, as f7 is under attack. And then the idea is like rook h7 to come. So if you play here queen f6, for example,
yes,
then the next idea is rook h7, or even you can take on f7, but actually I don't even want to take on f7. I like rook h7 more because it's a mating kind of threats suddenly arise.
Yes, it looks close to winning for white here. If
rook h3 also like is a logical move, because you don't like allow queen f3, and queen f6 is still to come.
should we just take a look at Shimanov's
position, which looks also...
Yes, but did he... The material is still even, but isn't this a little bit...
Well, the knights of white are a nightmare. I mean, I'm not sure you can hold these knights on the long run.
But yes, I was wondering, you can take this pawn. Black is quite low on time now. I mean, it requires
some time to hold. I mean, knight e5. Now the bishop has to stay on the diagonal. Probably bishop g2 is the only move. Otherwise, you run into a lot of tempes.
yes.
Like bishop e4, there's knight c3, so you don't want to allow that. I guess you want to play bishop g2 for this reason, or bishop b7, but I guess bishop g2 is looking more stable.
Yes, but I guess black is playing for the win, since, well, if you take the a2 pawn, this this pawn will become
very strong.
Yes, the most dangerous pawn in the position. This pawn majority that white have is not such a big issue in comparison.
And then also knight d3 ideas.
Yes.
Knight d3, rook d1, and then checkmate on f2.
What is I just this is the position now that Ralph has, isn't he? What, this looks dangerous for black, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, because I don't see that he will have perpetual check after bishop takes b7, and if he doesn't have perpetual check, it's game over.
Yes, this pawn on b6 will be very difficult to stop.
Yes, bishop takes b7, nothing
Bishop
wrong with
takes
that.
b7, and if
You have to take
Yes.
it.
if you and then you can just move the queen, I guess, and
To c7 back, then you have queen e5 check and b7 as a threat. And it looks
So-
pretty much winning for white. And GM Benjamin, he won the game against Nabati.
so that was well.
He sacrificed on f7, also beautiful.
Oh, he even gave the queen here in the end.
Yeah.
So
And it checkmated on a8.
yes. So well, that was pretty. I mean, it was a little bit of an upset. I don't know. Maybe Nabati normally is.
The small favorite here, but okay.
Yeah.
You should never like underestimate the experienced underdogs, because
Yes.
you don't lose your class of chess. Even maybe you lose your speed of calculation, but you don't use your knowledge and your understanding. And I remember Joel Benjamin from the 90s, and he was one of the leading national players of America.
Well, and he mentioned yesterday that he do prepare at least a little bit before these games. So he do take them seriously.
Yeah.
Well, so okay, then we have Joel Benjamin as the first winner today.
Yes.
And let's see if, well, now Ralph Åkesson is winning, and that is also well, he is also
the underdog here, actually.
yeah, he was perhaps the underdog when he won against Sergei Ivanov in the first rounds as well, but now he takes 1-0 here against Sergei Volkov. So he's beating all the Russians. Looking, and I suppose he's a little bit surprised as well. Or he mentioned that, of course, he doesn't play that much over the internet. He would prefer to play the
overboard events.
Yes, the normal Rilton event. And that leaves us with this end game now where, well,
I think
Black kept his pawn.
And will go to b4 and will probably just win a piece by that.
Yes. So this is just a matter of technique now. Winning position, I guess, when you bring the king.
I can even play knight e1 not to keep our world. Knight b2 is of course easy too. King c5 and king b4 and then h3. Or maybe even bishop c2 to be more precise, not even giving you the chance to sacrifice a piece. So king b4. You could even, like, hypothetically speaking, play f6 if he is like mean. But I think after knight b1, bishop c2, okay, knight b5. So he will try to.
Yes, we will have a look at the standings now. So okay, there was a draw between Sasikiran and Djokovic. Ralph Åkesson won against Sergei Volkov. Joel Benjamin won, just as we saw, against Nabati. And now we are waiting here for Alexander Chimanov to win this game.
And he doesn't want to give the piece. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to give the pawn against the piece, which is interesting too. He wants...
Well, he wants white to give the bishop rather than the...
Okay, actually, like after bishop takes a4, I think he would take with the king on d4. He just don't want his king to be away. Yeah. I think.
Well, of course, he wants to keep these 3 pawns, not giving white
anything. Okay,
any
then
chance. Yes.
Okay, this is basically over.
Yes, and now he did resign, meaning that Marger Peterson will have to win against Shimano with the black pieces in order to keep.
Okay, Yevgeny Artcrest, he managed yesterday against Nabati, so it's possible.
Yes. And så börjar de. Ska vara parti vid 4? Nej.
Nej, nästa börjar dessvärre.
Så det är inga partier förrän 25?
Nej.
Okej.
Se om vi får en intervju eller om vi bara får pausa.
So there will not be any games now for 1 hour, or they will play at 5 o'clock again. So we will have to wait perhaps and see if we will get any interviews with someone before that, or what is going on.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm also curious how this happened because it looked not bad for black actually after e5. I liked it for black after e5, to be honest. Okay. Okay, but rook e8 already looks a little bit unnatural to say the least, but okay, still it's not a reasoning. Okay, but this looks a bit, the rook on e6 I don't get actually.
A rook e6 was
strange, you know, like the coordination.
Because now we see that it was a good idea fixing this pawn.
And there's queen e5, maybe this was missed, huh? So I think he miscalculated and overlooked queen e5. This could be the reasoning.
And already here it might be.
It might be over actually. Maybe he has to play queen f6, like in instead of g6. Maybe queen f6 would save him. Queen f6.
You mean here?
Well, like not queen g5, but queen f6. Yes, trying to get the checks as quick as possible. Like here, queen f6.
So Joel Benjamin will
join us
here. Do we have the game here?
You have to unmute again, Jay.
Okay, done.
Okay, how are you? Congratulations.
I'm still shaking a little bit because that got very exciting.
Yes.
Impressive game.
Thanks.
Okay, we have it. Do you want to help us here? Now we see it from the black side. It might I don't know, might give you some new perspective as well. Can you tell us something about this move? Is it?
It's another pet move of mine. I've played it in a number of games. I remember thinking bishop c5 was a bit of an annoying move order, but
yes.
I can't recall if I worked out what to do against it. So I'm wondering if I should take the knight, either this move or the next. Maybe I'll try that in future.
According to new theory, I think they only take on c6 when you play bishop e7, but with the bishop on c5, I think they don't take on c6. But
yeah,
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I was wondering if it might make sense to take and then to play bishop e3. That was my thought, but I don't know if it's good or not. Yeah, I don't see any way
well,
for me to avoid what's going to happen here.
really know what was going on, but it looked promising for you after B4 and A4. I must say, since this.
I'm not sure why he brought the bishop back to C5. If he brought it to A7, I wouldn't have B4 with tempo, and maybe that would help him a lot.
Yeah.
Because, well, I don't know, is black is lacking counterplay a little bit, or that's why he got maybe too desperate as well.
He does have a possibility of taking on A4 and possibly playing A5 somewhere in conjunction with taking on F3 and creating a back rank weakness. So I thought maybe he should try that.
That's quite interesting. You mean?
I'm not sure what move order. I think he can even play A5 right away.
Well,
yeah, let's say that, and then A5
like this, and then you can take here.
Yes.
Because of this check.
Yeah. So maybe that's equalizing to then play A5. Then he doesn't have weakness there.
Instead, he played G5, right?
Right.
H3. Okay, so he can still maybe play that.
Well, I knew he wasn't going to take on F3 after playing G5.
Yeah.
But then in that ending, then maybe I play H4 and get some play there on that side.
G4 was played.
Probably I should take on B5 first. It was very provocative to do it this way.
Okay, so we got in a couple of questions for you here. Or
Okay.
Do you remember anything from when you won the Rilton Cup back in 96, 97? And can you tell us about your experience from that year?
Well, I remember a number of the games. Other than that, I can't recall anything specific. Just generally, I felt good during the tournament and didn't have any problems. I was happy to be there. I was actually on vacation playing in a chess tournament because I was working for IBM on the Deep Blue project, and they let me have 2 tournaments off, one for the Olympiad and the other for the Rilton Cup over the holidays. So I was kind of happy to be out of the office.
And I have been told that you have had a friendship with the Swedish Grandmaster Ferdinand Hellers. Can you tell us about the story behind your friendship?
Well, we met in the 80s. Maybe it was he came for the New York Open in 1987. I don't remember exactly the origin story, but I know that in 1990 he came and played a tournament again, and he stayed at my apartment, and we've just been friends ever since.
And
I don't think it's really that big a story, but
no, I'm not sure. I just got in the questions, but you are having still some contact.
Yeah. Actually, I Zoomed with him a few weeks ago.
Okay.
And he was telling me that he was getting back into chess a little bit, so that was kind of interesting.
So he's cheering for you now, and I guess he's a kind of a part of the side event for this event, or there is
Yes.
we have another event running here as well.
Right.
I
actually took on B5 first. I don't know.
Yeah. Right.
Actually,
but he didn't. He played H5. That's why I think I should have taken on B5 before playing G4, because it allowed him this H5.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't take back on B5. He played H5 instantly. And if you had
Yes.
taken B4 on B5, then there was no H5 because you shouldn't have played G4 first.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you played for the national American team? Because I remember I must have seen you in some of the Olympiads back in the
Yes.
90s or in 2000s.
The last one I played was 2002, and that was when they switched to the new FIDE time control. It was just one time control, and I was always used to being in time pressure, making the time control, then running off to the bathroom. And now I found that once I got into time pressure, I never got out of time pressure, and I could not play with this time control at all. We hadn't played it, in the US with it, and I just had a disastrous tournament.
It wasn't played, right? It was played. It was the Olympiad in Slovenia, and
it wasn't played. But because I was playing so badly, I got a lot of time on the bench, and which meant a lot of time in pub bled, which gave me time to spend with my future wife. So one door closes, another one opens.
You met your wife in the Olympiad in Platt?
I met my wife, yeah. Deborah Quinn was playing for the Irish team. And,
nice.
Yeah.
Nice story.
Yeah,
you had a lot of walkings around the river, right, or the lake?
Yeah, and we've been married 16 years now.
Nice.
Okay, so there is a kind of a chess family then.
Yes. Now I was wondering if he would take on h1 and then play rook h8, and then I was thinking that maybe I sacrifice my queen in that position.
Here,
Yeah, and rook h8. Because if queen c1, he has rook h3, is very annoying, I thought. So I was wondering if I could sack my queen.
here.
Yeah, maybe, and then take on a6 with the pawn. And
I guess
bishop a7.
Yeah, and I don't know if I have time to get at his bishop or not. But if this doesn't work for me, then he should have done this. He shouldn't have taken back on b5. So that was maybe an inaccuracy for both players. Or maybe he missed the move rook h3. That's a funny move. Queen takes rook h8, queen c1. Looks like a strong move, but he has rook h3.
yes.
And if queen g5, rook takes f3. And then even this position, actually, I could try sacrificing a piece here. I could take the queen and sacrifice a piece, and I wasn't sure about this position because both his bishops are kind of stuck in. Yeah, pawn takes a6.
Rook takes f2 and bishop a7, maybe.
Oh, he has.
Maybe it's too much. I don't.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I don't have time to play both moves. This is a problem. If I had time to get an f3, then it would be interesting. So maybe I messed up with the move order there, and that gave him chances.
But you can play queen g2 or something.
Yeah, but then he takes back, and he has a much better version of what happened. I think he has the h file here, and I can't attack the pawn on g5 right away. Which
but maybe
I could take the pawn on b5.
You can take.
Yeah, but I still think maybe he can go d5 here. I'm much less comfortable in this situation.
Yes,
or maybe
but,
queen f4 and.
Or maybe you can first play like rook h. If you play rook h1, he will rook h1 instead of like taking on e5 because this pawn doesn't run away in a way, but probably like he will not exchange the rooks, I guess.
Or he could even take and play queen f4.
Ah, okay.
I'm not sure. Anyway, I think it was a much better version to get the h file like that, because after queen d2. Then he started thinking a long time.
He took on b5.
No, he didn't take. He didn't take on g4. He didn't take on g4. I don't.
Oh,
he took on b5 and then queen d2. Yeah, I think Black is in trouble here. So he thought a long time, and then he got very creative with the sacrifice on h4.
That simply didn't work.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't have to accept it. I think that I'm much better if I just, let's say take with the rook and bring my rook over. But I thought that knight takes h4 was winning immediately because I missed that he could take on f2 and then take back right away, and his queen is defended. I missed that.
I thought like even if you exchange the queens, I mean, where is his counterplay? For example,
Well, if he keeps the h pawn, I was a little bit afraid of that, but maybe maybe I shouldn't have been, but
I mean, after G takes H4, let's say you take on F2 and you play King E2, and he has to decide either to go Bishop G3 or
he has to go
play on
Bishop
the diagonal.
G3.
And then I go Rook A7, and he is super passive. I will bring my King to F3. I will exchange one Rook, and I thought it's.
Yeah, maybe it's simple because his bishop on G6 is
Yes,
dead.
we're
He's-
talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah, this was simple.
King
this.
E2, and then basically like maybe even Rook A7, then King F3. His bishop is dead, and then
You
you
want to go
exchange
here?
one
Or?
Rook. Doesn't matter. I will always change the Rook. I will take on B5, and I will have an easy life. And he will has to watch
You want to
Yeah.
bring
this-
the
Rook
rook here?
A1,
And
yes, and exchange one Rook. And I thought like you don't
No,
have
no.
to
Here,
bother
here I
anything.
can play. Here I can black can. Rook B6. I just go bishop D5. Yeah. Yeah, it should be winning for white. Yeah, I don't know why. Well, I also thought Queen G5 was winning immediately.
yes,
I
what-
completely missed King E6. I did not, because any other move he loses his H pawn and trades queens. It's that's why that was a shock. Now it's very messy. It's just very messy.
sorry, what was your move here?
I played Queen H4.
Queen H. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right move,
Yes,
but I
so we
want to
saw
get rid of it.
this.
And you went with the King to B3.
I think white is winning here, but it's very easy to make a mistake.
Bishop D5 and Rook H3. But you have probably like many ways to win here. Even I thought like Queen F6 and Rook H7 idea I liked a lot.
Well, Queen F6, I thought he'd play Rook F8.
And then, no, then you can't play Rook H7. I like this kind of Rook H7 trap trick. But
Yeah, I wanted to get rid of the Bishop D4 possibility. That's why I chased his queen.
Yeah.
I wasn't at all sure what I should do here. But I stumbled into something nice because I saw this great checkmating cheapo. It just was good that popped into my head.
Yes, he played Queen E2, right?
Yeah.
And
Rook F8,
Rook F8.
and then I played Rook F3.
and he can't capture on E4, but he did that, right?
Yeah.
And we saw this nice combination in the end, giving the queen, right?
Yeah, I was very relieved to get that in.
But overall looked like a good game, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I thought it was going to be, a very positional squeeze, and then it turned out to be completely out of control.
But actually, like Nabati is a very dynamic player, so he would always try to play a lot of tactical messes. I mean, he had 3 crazy games yesterday, so.
Well, I was just looking at his games on the database. I never had really come across him before, and I saw that just wild tactics. Like, he doesn't seem to really care that much about the opening, but then so many tactics, and then so I was very happy to keep the game quiet. But then when things got out of control, I thought, oh no, what have you done?
I even said like you made a very brilliant choice to have a very like kind of boring setup at the beginning because you keep the position without any dynamics, but suddenly it changed when you played G4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, I'm just glad it worked out, and I don't expect the second game to be easy. So hopefully I'll be playing again tomorrow.
Perhaps we should thank you for now and give you a little bit of a break.
Go rest up for my
You will
game, yeah.
play at 5 o'clock again.
Yeah, well,
Swedish.
I just want to point out that here in New Jersey, this first game started at 9 a.m. So I was just glad to be awake for it. Okay.
Okay, so you will have to rest for,
A little
55
bit.
minutes or something now.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
see you. Bye.
Yes, we can take a long break and be back. before 5.
Yes. So we will also go for a break, and perhaps we can be back.
You have to ask Joel that he has to leave the room for himself.
Yeah. Joel, can you leave? Yeah, he left the room. So what time should we be back? Maybe 4:50.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
So we will be back 10 minutes to the round start. We can get up the standings before. Yes. So the same players will play each other. Volkov will have to strike back, just as Nabati can't afford another game like this. And Margaret Pettersson will have to try to win, which will be difficult against Alexander Shimanov. But we will go for a break, and we will be back in 42 minutes. Welcome back to the third day of Rilton Winners Cup. My name is Jonathan Westerberg, and I'm here commentating together with Elisabeth Pähtz.
Hi.
And we are halfway through the quarterfinals of this tournament, and we can see who will be playing now. The second game of the quarterfinals will start just in 4 minutes, and we will see Sasi Kiran. He will be playing black, right, against.
He will be white against Jakovic. I think he was.
He will be white.
Yeah.
The high rated will be white now.
Okay, so he will be playing white against Yuri Jakovic, and Sergei Volkov will be white against Ralf Åkesson in a game that he's forced to win to keep the match going. And we just had Joel Benjamin in for a shot after his victory against Tamir Nabati in a very convincing game. And Joel will have to just keep away from losing this second game in order to qualify for the semi-final. And then Alexander Shimanov will be white in the second game against Margaret Pettersson, and he already won the first game. So I believe that
it will be a difficult task for.
It will be difficult for our Icelandic grandmaster to stay in the tournament. So what do you think? I haven't been so convinced by Sasi Kiran's play, not even earlier. He qualified for the quarterfinals in this Armageddon game, and so he still feels like he have to play a little bit better. I am quite impressed by Joel Benjamin's play, and he seems like a really nice guy as well. So hopefully he will talk to us a little bit more later.
Yes, actually about Sasi Kiran, I mean, sometimes actually like when players don't have a lot of practice, and due to Corona, basically we are all out of practice, it can actually like affect certain players more than other players. And with Sasi, I just believe that he doesn't want to take any risks. But if you don't take any risks, sometimes it can mean you will not basically be able to play for win or to be able to win. And I think that's the case. He just doesn't take any risks at all. So he keeps it very solid, which is a good strategy, but which often just means you don't win the game. So maybe like he has to be a little bit more wild to change something about it, but maybe his strategy is just to go for the shorter time control. I don't know.
I mean, my experience is that it can also be hard to win a tournament like this if you're not really inspired, or
First game is on.
or you need to have some fun as well, and need perhaps to win a couple of games that you are proud of as well in order to just keep your mood up.
That's true, actually. It's very hard nowadays to motivate yourself. I know what you're talking about, especially online chess is not what we are used to, so it can be connected. I think Yuri Jakovic is already playing with black against Sashi.
Yes,
Second game is on.
Sasikiran and Jakovic is playing, and this is a line in the Rossolimo
Variation, yes.
variation of Sicilian.
And e5 lately became more modern, but knight f6, of course, is the old main line. I have to be honest, I'm already out of the book.
Well, sometimes, or just as often, I guess, the inclusion of c takes d4, c takes d4 is seen. So now, but that's black black decides whether to take or not. So he doesn't take. So the center is
Under 10.
not fixed, so to say. It's
All matches are running.
Usually, like when you take on d4, you give a square for the knight to c3. So often they
Yes.
wait until knight d2 is played, and then they would take on d4. And basically, like to just underline, I wait before you move your knight, and then I take on d4. But now actually, maybe at some point he has to decide, because bishop takes c6, d takes c5, maybe a threat, and it may be just a pawn.
yes. So he decided to take now, and he wants at least to pretend that bishop e3, let's say, wasn't what white wanted to play.
But usually you try to really keep control of d4. So basically after bishop g4, I have knight d2, and then the bishop is already out on e3. So I don't, I don't
Oh,
play this way.
I guess that this have been seen a lot of times before in
Yes.
practice.
Only from the Alpine, actually, with g6, you can get to the very same position, I would say.
And he brought the queen out.
Sometimes they take even on c6, b takes c6, and try to play on the c5 square, but I think it would be a bit premature.
Yes, and we can, and it can also be the reversed case, that if you bring the knight, black can perhaps take on c3 and like try to get some pressure against the backward pawn here. So therefore, knight c3 is something that you
Have to think twice about. So a4 was played in order to protect the bishop on b5, because knight takes e5, I think, was a threat.
and if white were to move again, a5 would be playable here. So I'm not sure, will you play a6 or not?
That's an option. Also, bishop g4 is quite interesting.
Yes,
but,
a6.
knight a6, yeah.
So I guess that okay, bishop d3.
Knight b4.
Knight b4 is an option, yes, in order to take off this
No.
bishop.
white tries to get some kind of positional compensation for the bishop pair.
There are not a lot of attractive squares for the queen, I guess.
And it's really hard to choose because I don't like any.
No, you can maybe you can go to e6. I'm not sure. Just for the time being.
But queen e6, it seems to work. But okay, if I take on e4 and then
Yes.
you
I
play
will have to take back.
and
Yes.
then knight g5,
And maybe queen f5 or queen.
and then I will play knight c3, and I pretend I take the pawn on e4.
I have. I can still play bishop c6.
Ah, okay.
So perhaps I am in time to defend this pawn on e4. I hope. We will get the other games up here as well.
I think they're already in the list. You see
They are all okay.
Yeah.
And in this game, yes, this is the game between Volkov and Ralf Åkesson. So Åkesson is, of course,
considered to be the underdog, but he managed to take the lead. So it is Volkov who needs badly to win in order not to be eliminated. And a very solid system had been chosen.
we have a Queen's Gambit declined.
Very solid choice by Black.
Yes, knight f4. So it's not always that the Black is able to bring out this bishop, but it's of course maybe not clear that it's an advantage always. I guess that White hopes to harass it. Let's say if he were to move again, maybe a move like h4 would be something to consider. But in any case, I guess the knight is well placed on f4. Knight bd7, bishop e2.
So, I mean, the knight may aim at some point to c8 and d6. That is a typical kind of maneuver.
But, well, normally the knight is quite well placed here, since one of the standard ideas for White in this Karlsbad structure is this I'm not sure what you call it in English, minority attack with the pawns to try to bring the pawn to b4 and play b5 and take or give Black this backward pawn on c6. But when the knight is already on b6, you don't really want to give up this square so easily.
It could possibly be that White would try the plan like to take on g6 at some point and then play bishop d3, f3, e4. That looks maybe even more suitable in these kind of positions when the knight, as you already mentioned, is on b6.
He played queen b3, which is a little bit mysterious.
Okay, there's a4 idea. So after a5, the knight on b6 would be loose.
Yes. Well, I guess that White will take here one day, maybe very soon.
Maybe it's a good moment to play bishop f5, but he went for knight e8.
Yes, actually, I can't see a reason why the bishop would be bad on f5. It can't really be attacked.
He went for knight e8. I think he wants to bring the knight.
Yes. So, well, d6 is of course, like you said, a good square for a knight in this structure. The question is maybe, well, you have 2 knights to dance around with, so you're not sure which one should go there.
Yeah, preferable. I would like first to exchange the bishops before I go with a knight on d6, but it's very difficult, of course. So a4, a5 was needed, rook d1 and knight d6.
I think that white will go for the plan you mentioned to achieve this e4 move after preparation.
I think the only plan he has left, I'm afraid. The minority attack at least is out of discussion after a4.
Yes. So what you would like to, after knight d6 was played, so perhaps you want to take and play. Maybe it's not necessary, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But if it were white to move again, perhaps you could already take and play e4.
That's possible, yeah. Maybe bishop h4 is a clever move. Because, I mean, like, anyway, I lose a bishop here, so I should change one. And then after bishop h4, the black squares get weaker. So then actually, like, if you allow me to take on g3, I'm not sure you would anyway push e4, okay, because there's queen g5 in there. So I like the move bishop h4 a lot. If I can play, I know I cannot play it tactically because b6 is hanging. That's a pity.
But can't you, isn't it a little bit annoying if, I mean, you can play knight to c4,
yes.
And now you will bring back the bishop, I guess.
Yes, and then after bishop h4, there's g3. So.
But can't you play knight f5 also, maybe?
Or even bishop g5 is interesting. To see what he's doing about knight on f4. Actually, it looks like that black is doing very fine.
Yeah, it's not certain that f3 was so well timed, perhaps.
Knight f5, then I can take on c4. So
yes, you can take on c4. Okay.
Bishop g5 would
bishop g5, you like?
Yeah, because then if you take on c4, I can take with the pawn, capturing on f4, and then okay, your pawn structure is also not the world. And after bishop g5, it's interesting on how he will react.
Queen b6, but now, well, I guess he will take on b6. I was considering this move, but I thought that white would be having the initiative.
I mean, sometimes I think psychologically it's a bit difficult, like you're like leading and you believe, I mean, maybe you don't believe it, but in your subconscious minds, you think like queen exchange, endgames, more drawish. I mean, this could be one way how your psychology works. The other reason could be that Akison loves endgames. And he's more of a technical player and not necessarily a dynamic player, because a dynamic player would have gone for bishop g5 in this position.
So we can get something like this, I guess. And now you can play
e4.
Isn't this good for white?
To me, it looks quite fine.
If knight c4, you have
e3, and then you have to
e3.
go.
And you will, perhaps you can just start to push the pawns here and grab space.
Yeah. Actually, also like f takes g6 could be interesting. I mean, because if you play e4, I want to go bishop g5 in some way, but probably it's of course very risky to play like this. But let's say now bishop g5.
But I have time to play b3.
Okay, I thought like maybe I can take on e4 and I can sacrifice on f2, but I think it's too much.
I didn't like.
Queen b3 I also don't like, and I think it's these kind of things. Yeah, that's what happened in the game now.
He didn't, or he postponed this exchange on g6.
Yeah, but he has time after taking on e4. He can
Yes, right.
but he will get the same position. And yeah,
Queen b6 was not.
I mean, I think I saw with Ralph already like yesterday some kind of end game preference. Whenever he had time to get a solid position without dynamics, he would tend to go for that. So maybe it's his style to go for these calmer positions.
We can take a look at the game between Nabati and Joel Benjamin. We haven't seen any Alekhine yet.
Yeah. Oh, this is the sharp variation, actually. All I remember is you should first play bishop e3 over knight f3.
Yes, this one is not.
No, taking is still fine. Then knight c6, and then it's important to play bishop e3 and not knight f3, because after knight f3 there's bishop g4, and that's why you first go bishop e3.
Yes. Well, I have looked at this
For a century.
Before.
But I know until like f6, this is all mainline.
It's f6.
And then usually like after the capture queen d2, this is the moment when I'm slowly out of the theory. But I know that this is all still theory.
Well, I guess we have to trust that Joel knows this line, since he played it. Queen e7 is probably.
But if you look at the time management, it seems like that he is quicker out than expected. But I don't know in what moment he started to spend time.
No, I'm not sure. Or actually here, he spent it looks like he almost spent 2 minutes on this move, Queen e7. So maybe he didn't really knew what the move was, but okay, it looks logical to bring the rook to d8, I guess, to get some pressure. Well, you did give white the center, so you will have to attack it in some way. Even though I'm not completely sure. I don't really like the black position if white is able to stabilize.
Even so now c5, of course, is a very positionally speaking rather risky move. I thought like maybe you can even play like queen e1 and then queen c3 and then maybe rook e1, bishop f1 and slowly prepare the d5 push. But maybe you are too slow because there's queen b4 moves also in the air. How to say?
Ah.
No, c5 is quite committing. King h8.
Well, this is
the weakness.
The weakness, and well, if white had some moves to play now, he would, I guess, bring the bishop to c4 and
rook to e1.
Rook to e1.
So king h8 is quite natural.
And now white is thinking. Perhaps you could
after bishop c4,
you have maybe you have to watch out for this e5 move with white. The queen is not This is not the best square, perhaps, for the queen with the rook on d8.
Also, bishop c4 perhaps could be answered by knight a5, even so I'm absolutely not sure about that move.
Yes.
But could be.
Perhaps bishop b5 is a move.
Positionally speaking, for sure this. The question is, we have Nabadi to play, and he wants to usually go for dynamic choices. But yeah, bishop b5, capture, and then preferable change with those dark-colored bishops. But rook e1 is very normal.
We can take a look here at the game between Shimanov and Petersson. They have come quite far already. Okay, this was strange. Well, keep in mind that Shimanov needs a draw with white in order to go to the semi-final.
Yes, and this will be a hard
This
try.
will be very difficult for black to win, yes.
Oh yeah.
So a solid opening choice by Alexander Shimanov, and he will be the first one to pass the quarterfinals since they did agree to a draw at this moment. So that's where Margaret Petersson's tournament ends. So we will see Shimanov keep playing.
Yuri has very little time, actually. Something must have happened.
Yes.
Something.
Okay, what happened? He didn't bring the king to e6, but rather went back to d8. And this, okay, so black is thinking now.
But black spent already quite some time.
Can he hold on to this pawn, or is there a way to sacrifice it for compensation?
The question is, how big is a compensation? Because I will take on f6. Okay, I will play rook e8. I cannot because of
you can take and
take on e4.
Capture on e4, right?
Yes, and there's no rook e8.
Well, I didn't like queen d8. I actually didn't see any problem with queen e6, even though it looks a little bit funny.
Suspicious, yeah. Maybe he didn't want to run into knight g5. That's why he went for queen d8. Lucky, if you take on f6, I take. If you take on e4, I have queen e7.
But you will push, or maybe you're not in time to push f5, f4.
Okay, f5, maybe knight e6, not sure. But okay, rook c6, also unclear. But okay, b7 then is falling. Maybe it's too much pawns.
Yes.
I thought queen e7 actually is also good in order to get pressure on the e file, because f5 then would still be a threat.
I don't know if, can you consider just taking on e4, and if f takes e5, play d5 to keep this.
It's quite tempting.
To keep this bishop out of play.
I see that's what he's thinking about. Otherwise, he would play instantly e takes f6.
Well, it looks tempting since you also have moves like bishop b6, perhaps harassing the queen, and you have good control in the position. This knight is also looking almost trapped. So perhaps knight takes e4 immediately. Should we? Okay, we can go to Åkesson's game.
Who has an ending which he's trying to hold.
So we left it around here.
Mm-hmm.
And this was well, the kind of position that we expected. Even though I'm not sure that white had to allow the trade of this bishop against the knight, but
Yeah, white has base advantage, but I'm not sure that this is so much.
it's easier for black when he got rid of one of his knights, because he's not well, I guess trade of pieces is in favor for black since he
Next space, yes.
yes.
But maybe I have time to maneuver my knight around, like knight e7, knight b8, knight a6, or knight e7, knight f8, knight e6. But for sure, I would move that knight, just like knight. I would start with knight e7, actually, probably. And then get the knight to f8 and aim for knight e6. And okay, if you push e5, yes, he played knight e7.
He did play it. And white went g5 and knight f8.
Yes, that looks like a solid approach.
Hade ni kollat på det som avslutat?
Yep. This is not
So bad.
so bad for black, yes. He got maybe a better version in this endgame than
Expected.
expected, yes. Because he doesn't really have any weaknesses. He's really solid. The only thing is that white have the space advantage or pawns in the center, but it's not so clear
How to move them, because whenever you move,
yes.
you weaken the position as well. So
You should perhaps bring a rook to d8, yes.
yes, that's what he did.
And rook d7 maybe.
But even as like knight e6, you will answer by d5. Maybe I start with bishop before and just check what you're doing.
Yes.
Can't be a bad move. If knight a2, okay, I go back to e7.
Yes, bishop b4.
Yeah.
You can maybe even play bishop a3 or something, if knight a2.
Possibly, yeah.
Just to have the option of perhaps nothing is going on there, but
White has a problem. White has to push, but it's not clear how. Maybe actually like knight e2 and then preparing h5 and try something there when the time comes, like knight e2. Okay, knight a2 is like, I think they will repeat the moves.
bishop
One.
d6. Well, you want to play knight e6. You just want to make sure that white can't play d5 under good circumstances.
Okay, so bishop c7. That's why actually like he went to d6. He missed that idea. Okay, but now I can play knight e6. I believe.
Yes, and in case of d5, you have knight c5.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, we can watch the last moves between Nabati and Joel Benjamin. Right, we left it here, and he took on c3, b takes c3.
Bishop e4. Now he took on f3. Interesting.
This was maybe something that I would not allow. Now he had to take with the pawn, because in case of queen takes f3,
Yes,
I
bishop.
guess you can take on d4.
But okay, he gets a pawn. I think that's what he saw. So bishop h4.
Yes, queen
Taking on
takes.
e6. I take on f2, which is, I think,
Maybe you can't avoid or you can avoid the trade of queens, of course.
so bishop takes
You
f2.
take, and, sorry, and you give a check here, right?
Yes, and then, well, I think I have huge compensation for the pawn. You have to go with a king somewhere. I'm not sure where you're escaping from the checks,
Right.
because I have
G2, right?
G2, and then you have still queen G4, which is
Queen.
of course.
Well, you mean in case of queen G5 check, I have queen G4.
Yeah, but still it looks somehow promising in a way.
Yes.
But okay, rook takes f3 is also interesting. Just probably, what happens after rook takes f3? If you take on e7, in case I take on f2, then you have king g2, which means it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take on f3, you take on e7, I have to play bishop takes e7. And then there is perhaps d5. But no, after d5, I have in the worst case always rook takes f2 and bishop h4 check. It's not clear actually to take on f3 or to play bishop takes f2. By intuition, I would take on f2. But maybe here you have to be a bit more careful. But you know what is interesting? Maybe queen h4 check. And then after king g2, I take on f3 with a rook. And if you take back, I have rook f8 check. I have bishop f5. Knight e7. So rook, knight e7. So let's take on f2. King takes, let's give a check.
What I wanted actually to play this move h5, but queen g6 is
Looks annoying.
a problem. Otherwise, it would be quite good.
It's a quite prophylactical good move, yeah. But I was thinking like maybe rook takes f3 can work. But because if you take, once again, rook f8 check, if you play bishop f5, for instance, because you don't have much moves in order not to make a perpetual draw, I mean, to have not a draw here, right? You have
to play this one.
And now I go queen takes h3.
Uh-huh.
So the tactical fun is going further, but maybe the tactical fun is not enough because I cannot bring my knight into it. And after king g2, you escape to c4 or something.
Can I even go here? I'm not sure.
Okay, maybe queen takes h3 doesn't work. I mean, knight e7 was the option, but I think even then, after knight e7, you escape.
But you can play g6, maybe.
Yeah. Also,
just to not get any back rank.
But maybe then simply king e2 and I'm escaping with my king.
Yes.
No, I think the sacrifice is maybe too much. Even the rook takes f3 looked promising. Maybe we should choose something else.
He gave a check and played rook f6.
So queen, okay.
Yes. So now he have to go back.
And now
queen
e4.
Well, maybe this is clever. In case of queen e4, I guess rook f4.
Yes. But I still wonder what was wrong with queen g4. If he goes rook, I mean queen e6, rook f6, queen g4.
I guess queen h6 perhaps. But that was, of course, an option.
But now still after queen e6, it would be a repetition after rook f6, queen g4.
Queen e4.
The rook f4.
Rook f4 looks...
Queen h6, I don't get it.
why wasn't rook f4 played?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Also, well, one thing is that Nabati must win this game, so of course Joel can accept a possible repetition in this.
You know, maybe after
position.
f4 there was queen d5.
Queen
But,
d5.
Yeah, but I don't think it brings so much because I don't thread anything. I know I thread. No, I don't thread anything.
So you can even play a move like g6, maybe after queen d5.
Yeah, queen e3.
But why was queen h6 played?
I don't know. We have to ask afterwards.
Because queen h. Well, okay, they are. At least Joel is quite short on time here, so perhaps we shouldn't put maximum pressure on him and his moves at this point.
I think he wants maybe rook d5 also to have as an option, and that's why he preferred to have his rook on f8 back to prevent.
Queen e4. Well, you can play rook d5 here, right?
Rook d5, yes. F4 likely is the answer, or h4.
Yes, rook f6. So he wants to perhaps give
Rook
a check.
It's also interesting, but queen.
But I'm not convinced that black is.
Black has still compensation, but the question is, how big is the compensation?
I really would like to get this knight into the game again, but it's difficult. There are no squares.
Okay, but actually, like black still has not bad play.
In case of bishop e4, maybe you can try knight e7.
Oh yeah.
Because it will be dangerous if you can bring the knight to g6. Then
of course it will be very dangerous for. I mean, black might should try at some point, of course, to play rook e8, because after rook f4,
Yes.
for example, here, then there's rook e8. I know it's a check with a check on g4, because he wants to exchange material that would help him, of course. But on the other hand,
you can play rook f4, right?
I can, no? But then, okay, the queen goes to g3.
Yes, perhaps queen g3. Knight d8. So now you want to trade a rook.
Queen
but-
d2 check.
So
the-
queen d2 check
After rook e8,
Yeah.
I have queen d2 check, so it doesn't help you.
doesn't work really.
But the time, of course, is here a decisive issue, maybe.
Perhaps we can get to the game between Sasi Kiran-Krishnan and Yuri Yakovich. Well, the first game between them was drawn.
Yes.
But
Knight
what is this rook d8? Can't you?
Nope. You can, but we are also like mate on.
There is a back rank mate here.
Yes. So I don't know what was the idea now. Rook e1, rook f1. Okay, rook e1. I thought like was also nice, but it's.
What's the idea with rook f1?
I don't get it.
Didn't he blunder, perhaps?
I
If
mean,
you would have played rook e1, you can have.
the checks, yeah. I don't know. I think he blundered.
Did he drop it?
Maybe he dropped it, yeah.
Because, well, I'm not sure. Maybe both positions were draw anyway. I'm not sure, but
Now
it looked funny.
it looks like it should be
But
right.
white should not be in danger here, but
White has a wrong bishop actually. Like usually, like this setup with f2, g3, h4, you need the white colored
Yeah.
bishop. So if I exchange one rook, it should be lost.
well, I believe that white can just stay here, and they actually agreed to a draw now.
Yeah.
So they will play tiebreak games today.
Let's go back to Nabati. It was such an exciting.
Yes, what happened? Rook knight d8, rook e3, knight f7. Now rook e8.
Yes, he can exchange one guy.
And now you don't have this check because the rook is hanging on f8.
Knight g5, f4.
And now black is thinking he's left with 15 seconds here.
And I'm not sure there's a move.
Knight takes h3.
This is
Is
just.
this really working?
I don't think so. Because you can take with the queen.
Yeah, there's a mate here.
Yes. So
Rook g6 check. So he wants to. But is this
queen takes g6 and
queen g3?
and
Is this really enough, or is it just winning for white?
this is, I think, winning for white.
There was some miscalculation, even though.
Going further.
Or is it?
d5 check.
Do you
d5,
have this move?
yes, which is
Resultat av sista sekunden.
Yes. Well, yes. Sasekiran and Jakovic was a draw here, so they will play a tiebreak. Is d5 the move here?
I think so.
Yes, to keep the extra rook.
Queen takes d5 and then
queen f3. And there are no checks. Queen takes a2 check, and king g3, and you're winning. So I believe that Nabate will equalize the match.
So let's maybe go to
Yes, and he did resign, so they will also keep playing. Well, Shimanov is clear for the semifinals. The question now is, can Åkesson hold this end game with the black in order to qualify?
But he has like some pawns up, no? I mean,
yes, white have sacrificed a pawn. But black is a little bit cramped here. The king is maybe vulnerable, and you have this d6 pawn.
and then okay, h5 check. And king
I think black might be in danger here.
But why Archie takes h5?
I guess you take back.
Yes, but then maybe I take on a4 and I will run with c5.
Yes.
And this is the
But
only.
I play knight g5.
Is it already made?
No, but the threat is rook e7 after knight g5, and you can't stop.
Can I play king f8? But okay, you go king g6.
Yes, king f8, and I play king g6, I guess.
Yeah, this is going to be.
It looks dangerous. White, yeah, he was thinking, but he took. Yes, capture on a4, so capture back.
Maybe
I think knight g5 is a nasty move here.
Okay, I mean, maybe he has to do something against it, even though I'm not sure what. Maybe bishop e3.
Yes, well, he played c5.
Yeah, this is
Knight g5 is coming, I guess, and we will see if he can defend now. Rook e7 is the obvious threat, so perhaps king f8 is the only... Yes, king f8, and now I wanted to bring the king closer. And knight h7 is...
not good news.
Well, you can
If you
can
check,
of course give a check here, because in case of king f6 you have maybe e4
okay,
check.
if you check here, then
So perhaps you have to go to
f5, because after king h7,
f5.
maybe bishop e3 is still thriving, and I will get ready as king f5 is more of a problem. Okay, anyway, I will play bishop e3, I guess.
Okay, so now c4. Well, this is quite interesting.
Yeah, it looks very tricky, but maybe like Ralph is lucky and escapes.
And maybe he can escape this one. Maybe something like rook h6, but then you can take on g5, right?
At some point, I think I can, but I have to be careful when. Maybe.
Or yes, can you take here now? Check, check.
Check. Yes, you can check.
Or yes, you can, because take, check. Let's say king f6.
I
Bishop
take.
takes the, and then you have bishop back check, right?
Yes, and this will be fine. But if yes, in king f6.
So maybe Ralph found the winning combination here.
Okay, you have king f6. It's not yet over.
You mean now?
Yes, but then.
But I have e4 right, still.
Yes, king e6. And
King.
okay, rook e5 check. I will somehow make it.
King e6 immediately. Okay.
It's okay. Maybe I have to play king g7 and I just give you the queen and I have plenty of pawns, which is probably good enough, because how to lose? King g7, I think, is an easy solution.
King g7. In case of these, oh sorry, in case of d7, can you also play bishop b6?
Yes, actually I can. Maybe this is even the easier solution, not to suffer at all. Because why to give...
Now bishop b6 looks
looks
good, because you have to move the rook. And right. So how do we win this?
Maybe I don't have to win it. I have to draw it, right?
Yes, actually he only needs a draw. That's correct. So he just needs to prevent white from queening.
Actually, I didn't like c3. I liked e4 and rook c5 as an idea, but
well, I don't know. He's spending a lot of time. e4 now.
yes, but I mean, like the other way around, it would have been maybe more convincing. But okay, I have e3 actually, so
After rook c6, maybe you can play e3. No,
rook g6
Yes.
check, actually, always rook g6
he
checks
took the pawn.
and e3.
In case of e3, I guess you will take it.
Ah,
But even like that, I guess you make the draw with black.
okay, now rook g6 check and game over.
So black will win this second game. Ralph Åkesson is
On fire.
yes, he's on fire, taking down Volkov with 2-0. He has not been in any tiebreak. He has won 3 games and one was draw. So he have 3.5 out of 4 in this event, and he is clear for the semi-final as well.
You can look at the standings.
Yes, so now we will have the standings once again.
I will update. One more second. Like that. Now it's correct.
Yes.
I will put Ralf focus on as well.
Yes. So Alexander Shimanov is clear, just as Ralf Åkesson. So the games left today are, well, we will see the tie breaks between Sasi Kiran and Yuri Jakovic, and Tamir Nabati against Joel Benjamin. So they will play each other at least 2 times more with white and black. And the time control is 5 minutes each plus 3 seconds.
Ta in Ralf också. Alexander svarar inte nu, så vi tar in Ralf.
So Ralf Åkesson will join us, even though we got Alexander here.
We will say we will have to do both of you very quickly because we start the tie breaks at 6.
Okay.
So you can decide which order.
Okay. So how are you, Alexander?
I'm all right.
Is it good? Yes. Do you want to? Well, maybe the second game wasn't that exciting, right?
It wasn't exciting at all.
Can I just ask you one thing? Because I think I saw some post of you, maybe on Facebook, that you won some other event, like poker event or something, just recently.
Right. It was a mix of chess and poker event. So first it was a blitz tournament, and then secondly it was a poker heads-up tournament.
Okay.
So yeah, I did win this, and actually the poker stage started like 1 hour before my first game against Ulshan, so I didn't really have time to play.
So you combined many things here.
Right. Yeah, the second game I made sure it was uneventful, so I was happy about that.
Yes, I'm not. Well, maybe you can show us your first game if you remember all the moves. We don't have the game up here.
I mean, I remember the first move was c4.
Yes, right.
And then I think it was e5.
Yeah,
right, so g3.
Right, it was the c6.
c6, yeah, he played knight f3 first, e4, knight d4.
Knight f6.
Knight f6, bishop g2, queen b6.
Right. And we saw this variation yesterday, but in that game he took, so maybe d3, is it?
No, I think d3 is inaccurate. Actually, I think knight c2 is already inaccurate as well. Knight b3 is the main move.
Okay,
so I actually, I prepped it a little bit, but I didn't really expect knight c2. I just saw a couple of games and black looked fine to me. So
I think was it Jakovic mentioned maybe knight b3 a5, and they didn't.
Right.
I don't know if he knew many more moves from this position, but
I did. Yeah, I mean, Caruana's played a lot of games here, so I did some prep for today's match.
But already here it seemed.
Yeah, I was on my own, and I don't think d3 is accurate, and actually queen d3 looks inaccurate as well. So like 3 inaccuracies in a row, as far as I understand.
Yeah.
So I think he should just take e takes and it's around equal. But after queen takes d3, I'm probably just better because I have a very comfortable development.
Yes, you got some easy moves here. Bishop e6.
Yeah, he played queen d3. No, he played queen d3 first, which I think was inaccurate as well.
Yes,
because it allowed me
also
to
losing time.
Yeah, to gain some time. Knight a6 was played, and then he castled. I played rook d8, queen c3, bishop c5,
bishop e3,
bishop e3.
Yes, and already here he's fighting for equality.
Right.
think.
I think instead of bishop e3, bishop g5 was more precise,
Mhm.
probably. But anyways, so after castle, he took, and then knight c5, and now I'm trading some knight a4 stuff as well. No, he played knight ba3,
Right.
which was kind of weird, but maybe he should have just played b3, but it's already worse for white anyways. b3 just to stop that knight a4 idea. Yeah, and here actually it was interesting because I mean the problem today was that my neighbor was drilling like crazy, so it was like super noisy at my place, and I couldn't really focus. So after he played queen e1, the move I didn't really expect, I spent like 6 minutes here, and made a terrible move. Queen takes b2. So and I just blundered after rook b1, queen c3, rook takes b7. My initial plan was to play rook d2, but then it runs into knight b1.
We saw that.
Yeah. Well, you saw that, I didn't, but
we saw it in the moment when we saw like maybe rook d2, but then we understood it doesn't work. So
right. And after a5, I mean, I just played it so my pawn isn't hanging, and also like knight b4 is not an idea in some positions. And here, I think he should have played rook a7, and I don't really know if I have anything here in this position. Instead, he played e3, I believe.
This looked shaky.
Yeah, I didn't really like this move because now I can play queen c5 and actually I keep the queens, and it looks like my queen is much more active than his. And then I bring the knight to c3. So, I mean, just look at his knights in c2 and a3. That's not good for him.
But you didn't play this, right?
I think I did play queen c5.
You did play it, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and he played queen a1. Is it possible that he played that? I think that was the move, yeah, queen a1. I played knight c3 first because I wasn't sure of something after rook d2. Yeah, and then he played queen b2. Rook d2 now. Rook b8 was played. Bishop to c8. So I didn't really want to exchange the rooks first. But then he played some tricky move. Queen b3. Right, that's what he played. And now suddenly he just wants to play knight d4, and I think if he gets to play knight d4, it's not even better for me. Like knight d4, and then the second knight comes to c4, and like suddenly all of my pieces start to hang, you know?
Yes, we were suggesting here that maybe you would play c5 after e3 just to
avoid knight d4 forever.
Keep. Okay.
I mean, maybe I wasn't playing the best moves, but I think what I did was good enough.
Okay.
Like I played knight e2. The idea is that he can play knight d4 now.
Sorry, Alexander, is it okay if we bring in Ralph Åkesson here as well? So maybe you can take...
but I want to finish my game.
Sorry?
You can take
yes,
a break.
you can, if you want to.
Nah, whatever.
Speed up a little bit.
Actually, it's basically winning for me, even this position. Like his knights are really, really stupid. So.
But do you remember the moves here? Because I don't have the game up.
I mean, okay. I played knight e2, king h1, and then I played bishop to e6, I believe. He took on f8. King takes, queen b8, king e7. And even though it looks like my king is kind of shaky on e7, actually he doesn't really have any threat, like no threat whatsoever. And I might play something like knight g4 and queen h5, so I have a bunch of ideas. Not to mention that I'll probably just take on c2 on the next move. So he played queen b7, knight d7. He took on c6 the queen, took back. Bishop takes, now knight e5. Just went back to g2.
We saw this position.
Right, and after bishop a2, it's just really, really bad for white.
The problem is this pawn.
This pawn is running, and also I have some knight d3 ideas, so his king isn't really safe. So after bishop a2, he just gave up the pawn, like knight d4. And then I just took twice. And I mean, this is a winning endgame, so not much to talk about. And the second game I moved 5 and was happy about that. Do you want to continue the game?
Maybe we can take in Ralph Åkesson and talk a little bit to him.
I'm pretty sure his game is more interesting.
No, I don't know, but we don't have all the time in the world, I guess.
We'll do like this. You can ask if they can help, because I'm starting the games now. They can stay and
maybe you can
and help with the commentary, and we can do finish interviews between the matches.
Since that's my future opponent, right?
So you will play the winner between these two, right?
Right.
Yes. So there it is the tie-break games that is starting between Nabati and Joel Benjamin, and soon Sasikiran's game.
Yes.
Mikovic, right?
Yes, against Gurvic will start.
Okay, both have started.
So both of these games will start. So maybe this one looks more promising for some action to happen.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised the veterans, giving a good fight to like the younger guys. Although I think Christian is already like 40 or so, but
he is what?
40 years old.
40.
I think so. I don't really know, but around that.
Yeah.
So I mean, and Yuri is like 50 plus, right? So he doesn't really play as much as he used to. So I would think that Christian is a huge favorite, but apparently he barely saved the second game, as far as I understood.
Yeah. And this looks quite tame. To play H3 against the Dragon, but I guess this has been played before. Even though
I think that's just an attempt to avoid all the sharp lanes. So play some quiet game.
You can also ask if Ralph wants to join.
Ralph, do you want to join us here?
Yes, I'm ready.
Congratulations on your both victory.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. The second game was really tough, and well, the first one also, but in particular the second.
Yeah, and you will, you will play the winner in this match.
No, it will be Alexandra playing. I know in this match.
Yeah, Ralph will play either against Sasikiran or Jure Jakovic.
Yeah, well, I haven't planned that far, so it's possible.
But you have good scores against the Russians.
Yeah, at least in this tournament.
Yes. Okay. What to say? Maybe one idea is if you drop back, you can have this typical exchange sacrifice on C3.
And I think this is quite promising in this position.
Maybe just very good. So you would like to find something else at this moment.
Actually, the setup of white against the Thracian was rather non-ambitious, let's say. I mean, I don't get...
Okay, actually drop back. So will we see the rook?
Yes, we will
capturing here?
I mean, he has to take, otherwise he's not a Sicilian player.
Yes.
I wanted to say, otherwise he didn't enjoy Russian school.
Right.
So,
and him being the one of the main coaches of the Russian, youngsters.
Actually, isn't the black just getting well?
I mean, honestly, in
What to do?
practical terms, I think it's almost winning for black.
Should you play bishop b2 here?
Then maybe even bishop takes c3.
Yeah, you
I
can.
I don't think I even have to take that quickly. Like knight c5 looks very nice
But
for
after
black.
bishop takes c3, do you not lose already like the exchange back? I mean,
Actually, you're right. Yeah.
Bishop takes
How to
c3
react,
here.
right?
yeah, I mean maybe rook db1 has to be played.
Okay, just to keep.
Yeah, but this is really
balance.
ugly.
Yeah, but this is the only choice. I mean,
But
then
that was bishop b3 was probably a big error.
it's hard to believe that he allowed this. I mean, maybe bishop d3 was better, but okay, the setup with white against the Draken is.
But actually, after bishop takes c3, rook b1, like I don't really see a huge follow-up for black. So as I said, I probably wouldn't take this pawn because I mean I don't really want to exchange my bishop, I guess, and this pawn isn't really going anywhere. So I would just play it slowly.
think that the white position is so sad when you don't have any. You don't have any pawns to play with.
Right.
You're just stuck with your pieces. Like you don't really have a target.
No, a very weird game by Krishna. He's a very good player. So.
It took with knight.
Knight
So,
takes c3.
but this one looked quite promising. Also, just
Right.
keep.
You just put the bishop on f6 if needed, and like nothing's ever hanging in black's position. So, as I said, I think it's practically speaking, it's winning for black. But in blitz, like anything can happen, of course. I'm actually not sure about this one, since now maybe white can play bishop d5 and at least exchange the bishops.
Bishop d5.
And then bishop c4. I don't know.
But already white is maybe happy with the draw, right?
Well, yeah, for sure.
Queen e3, okay, bishop f6.
Should we switch just for a moment? This was some kind of a London setup from Nabati here. I believe, yes, materially balanced.
He must be a favorite since he's like 700 points higher rated.
Yeah, Joel haven't played much on this site so far.
Yeah, but his position looks absolutely fine.
No problems for black here, right?
I don't really see any.
I would even say like black has the easier play because white has to be alerted of e5.
Right. E5 is an issue.
Not now, but
I mean, as white, I would consider something like queen f3 and then queen f4, but he just plays knight e4 also makes sense. This pin might be kind of annoying, I think.
Yes, but now, okay.
Or
you can win this pawn, but d4 is also hanging in case of knight takes f6.
He might consider something like taking like twice and then playing d5, maybe? I'm not sure if it brings anything to white, but it looks like an idea.
Knight e4.
Yeah, knight d4 and takes. Yeah, not much. But I don't think there's anything for white anyways. So, yeah, so he takes. I don't think he'll take on h6. Yeah.
And, okay, he played d5, so you cannot. Sorry, you cannot take here, of course. But you play knight d4.
Probably.
Knight d4 is the most natural. Yeah.
I guess he will have to take, right?
Yes, I see.
Like, this is not a good sign for a blitz game that he's thinking he's taking time in this particular position. Like knight takes d4. I mean, I don't see any other move, and he's spending how much time already?
Yeah. Well, and the black king is well, it's very safe, I would say.
Yeah, king g7 now.
Are you
Just don't play king h7, right?
That would be horrible, yes. But King G7 looks fine.
Looks
Even-
completely fine, yeah.
But yeah, will you take here now and just?
Well, rook takes. I mean, okay, Black's king is a little bit vulnerable, but I don't think it's anything. The queen is just too active. Maybe rook e4 now. Yeah, that's what he does. And queen c5, I guess.
Or f6.
Or f6, but I wasn't sure about queen takes b4. Wait, hold on a second.
This pawn.
This pawn was hanging. Yeah.
So that was not.
Yeah, he should have played queen c5. Perfectly fine.
Maybe he missed.
Position. I think he just blundered the pawn, yeah.
Rook d8 now has to be played, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's still sharp, but looks like a healthy extra pawn.
Well, maybe just completely unnecessary to give that pawn.
No, he clearly blundered that. No way he just gave it up.
And well, we will have to keep an eye here. What happened? Queen e3. Okay, so
well, looks like, I mean, Black is still completely fine, obviously, but White is stabilizing a little bit.
Can I take on a2?
I think you can. I don't see.
maybe he will try to.
No, but then b1 is hanging.
Yes, and he will sacrifice and hope for some kind of.
And that's what he
To play against the Black King, even
but
though
it's 2 pawns down, not just one. Like, I just take and play h6, for example. Where's your play? I don't see.
Yes.
Like I have f5 in the place.
Since this knight is here, the queen cannot enter this
Right.
diagonal, right?
It's covering everything. Rook d8 is very natural as well. h6, okay.
So it's 2 pawns for Black in this position, right?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like White's position was more or less okay now, but I mean, before he played knight f3, now it's just dead lost.
Very low on time here. Looks bad for Sasikiran. And now he's really desperate, I think. Playing g4. But of course, all end games are just completely lost for White now. So at least he must keep the queens in order to remain
In the game.
any chance at all.
Yeah, in order to deliver one check, potentially. That's all he can hope for, I think.
How do you play here, Alex? You
Just take the pawn. Take the rook and then take the pawn. Like, as I said, I think White has only one check. That's it. Although we should be a little bit careful of some h4, h5, h6 stuff. I think that is his only idea here.
But after queen d6, I have a threat of queen d1.
Right. So queen d7, let's like bishop c2 or something. King g2 maybe.
And then queen d5.
Yeah. Looks nice. I mean, I'm sure there are like 10 ways for Black to convert this.
Yes, you have to play bishop c2 here.
Maybe
He's
he'll
down to
flag
one.
now.
I think he lost on time now, right?
And I think that's actually the second game he's lost on time, right?
Yes. So Yuri Jakovic won this
First rapid.
first game. So Sasikiran will have to win with Black in order to stay.
Okay,
in
this
the
is
tournament.
a bishop up for White.
And now Joel Benjamin resigned against Tammy Nabati. That was a little bit. Well, it felt unnecessary to spoil that position. It looked completely fine until he blundered the pawn. Right now, it's just.
I mean, even then, I think it was.
Yes, we didn't.
Wasn't that bad.
What happened? He.
Like e5 was terrible as well, I think, since He should have attacked the pawn on d5 at least. I mean, this is just bad.
Yep.
Okay, so the second games will
Second will start at 6:30. So we can interview.
will start in 15 minutes, right?
Do you want to finish with Alexander and look at Ralph's game?
Yes, we can try to find your game here, Ralph's. If I can't, maybe I can't find it again here.
Do you want me to commentate this game as well?
Yes, or maybe Ralph will help us. Do you remember? Sorry?
If Alexander wants to leave, it's okay.
You can leave if you want, Alexander, and take the day off now.
Thank you. All right. Take care, guys.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So I'm not sure if you remember the second game, Ralph, but maybe.
I'm not sure I remember all the moves, but you have the moves, don't you?
Yes. Well, if you give me just a minute.
D5 I played here.
Var hittar jag den? Så?
Om du går till hans profil.
Aha.
Så om du söker på, det står i Friends där, så kan du söka på spelarnamn. Och då kan du söka på Ralf 61 då.
Var står Friends?
Ute i vänstergestalten. Och
va? Yes, we will try to bring up the game here.
Skriv Ralf 61 där. Nej, ja. Ska vi se om vi hittar hans parti här. Den här, va?
Yeah. So yes, here we go, and
yes,
well, it's from the.
Yeah, I was probably lost in the end game, but okay, it was a bit tough.
Yes, it was the Queen's Gambit, but well, I'm not sure about all this variation. You can. Is this well? I guess it's still known at this point, right?
Probably, but okay. I expected him to put the knight on g3, and then he can afterwards try to get it to f5. But yeah, this is certainly it must be a good plan also.
We consider that you might even try to keep this bishop at some point.
Yes, yeah, that was in the agenda. That's right. So.
But this was a critical moment, perhaps, when he played f3.
Yes.
What is going on? Because this Queen b6 felt.
Yeah, maybe that's not a good move. Let's see.
Bishop g5 was.
Perhaps Bishop g5 is something.
Yes. Yeah, that's very well possible.
Since since he got to play this e4 move, even though it's probably not a disaster.
Yeah, okay. I overlooked that he could play it at this moment, but yeah, it should be good for white now. Yeah, maybe he can take a pawn here. I'm not sure about that. But,
Take where? On e4 now.
on d5, maybe.
Aha, the pawn on d5.
Yeah, I think he can win a pawn.
But
I don't know
takes
if I have.
h4 and rook takes c2 at the end. Instead of h4. Okay, you can take immediately on d5.
The pawn is
Hanging.
not protected, maybe. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
takes d5, bishop g5. Does it? Then you have knight h3.
yeah. So I have some ideas. Also,
But you can still
bishop
take
d2
your-
at some point.
H4 was maybe not so great.
Mm.
But shouldn't he stop you from exchanging one knight in this position?
Yes, but
I mean, he can play bishop f3 as well, maybe. I don't know if it's better or not.
yes.
Because
Yeah,
this,
okay. When I play knight c4, I can exchange his bishop.
yes, this because of the fork on b2 in case of b3, right? And b3 anyway. But this endgame didn't look so bad for black. Now,
No, it seems better here than a few moves later.
well, since you lack, since you have less space, it's probably a big improvement in changing one
Knight.
knight.
Yes, I would like to do that, but
And I don't know what White's plan was. It to play d5, but
at some moment, yes.
well, the moves here seemed natural. Yes, I don't think we saw it. What
No.
happened here?
We saw it until bishop c7 actually.
Yes.
So he got the pawn to d6.
Yeah, that's a dangerous pawn indeed. If I don't play f6, he will play e5, I suppose.
Yes. You have to try to round up this pawn somehow.
Yeah, I want to put my king on e6 if possible.
Yeah. e5 anyway.
Yeah, that's probably a good move.
Yeah, maybe, well, you were perhaps lost at some point, or we were not sure actually.
Most probably, yes.
It looked suspicious.
Yes.
Yes, but we couldn't, well, we saw it from here and it looked dangerous, but somehow it also seemed that you found the only moves.
Yeah.
Like after, because here king f8 is probably forced since rook e7 is
Yeah, rook e7 is a big threat, so yeah, it's forced.
And here this is maybe also the only
Move, yeah.
because of knight h7.
Yes.
Well, and in case of king f6, you have e4 important, right?
I think so, yes.
But how can white really?
Proceed is a question.
Might be that the position just
After
is
c4, maybe I have rook f6 check, and in case of king e8, I will go for king e6.
Yes, it's a dangerous plan to try to
Yes,
get
rook
the king e6.
and then king e6.
But of course, he can't play rook h6 because of rook takes d5.
yes. We
Well, at least I think so. Yes.
But this is game over.
yes.
But 6 check and king e6, I think, is very interesting.
Sorry, to give a check now.
Yes, and then after king e8, let's say king e6.
And what can you?
My idea is knight f7 and d7 and game over.
Yes.
So you can play e4 maybe.
Maybe you have to play e4, but then e4 is interesting. Maybe rook f7.
Because now you
take.
you can play this one. No.
It works for black.
Yeah.
Yes.
But maybe this is still saving you. Maybe I should. No, knight takes e4 also doesn't work. Yeah, maybe this still survives.
Yes. Yes.
It
But
looks
of course, not so comfortable with little time left on the clock.
No, it doesn't work.
Yes. Well, I'm hanging on the rope, or what you say.
Well, we haven't checked with any kind of
Engines.
engine or so, but
Maybe after king e8, I have to play knight e6. And then knight c5 idea. But then you go maybe rook g1 to have. No, then I have.
Can I play? No. Or rook f7? Does it work here?
If I give a check on c7. And then I play
king,
d7.
King f8, then d7. Aha.
Yeah.
Okay, that's serious. Yes. Yes.
oh, this one.
Yes, I think you should go knight rook g1, let's say, to have a check. And now we need something creative. Maybe knight f. No, knight f8
Well,
does.
you can try king e4 maybe
Yeah.
to go
d5.
d5.
Looks still very dangerous.
Yes.
Maybe rook d1.
And maybe here.
Still, yeah. And king c6.
I don't know. It's it's dangerous since well, since this bishop is really out of the defense.
Or can I play c3 right away, or there's no time for that?
Here,
Yes.
king d5.
I got the feeling you will be mated beforehand. But
You are threatening.
It's
check d7.
it's mate in two. Yeah, yes, that's
on
right.
d8, yeah.
Aha, or even mate here.
Okay. Yeah.
But can you play rook g8? Is it even a move?
Okay, but it's probably still king e4 and king d5.
Yes, but now I wanted to push the pawn, maybe.
And c2.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm too short. with
Well,
time.
maybe we won't find the truth. It's perhaps possible that the position is drawn, of course, right? You should not be able to win this one. Like in the game, rook h6 was the losing move.
Yes.
Sorry. Yes, this one is losing since. Well, we saw that in case of this, you
Yes,
have
bishop g5. Yes.
important check here.
Mm.
Nu börjar nästa rond. Så att
Okay.
information är dags.
So the next tiebreak games will start now. So I think we will have to congratulate you once again, well, you can also take the day off now.
Yes,
So
okay.
you have energy to keep playing tomorrow.
Yes, I need energy and probably luck also.
Okay, so thank you for joining us, and we'll see you keep playing tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Han får lämna mötet själv.
Ralph, you will try to help us by leaving the meeting by yourself.
Yeah, yes. Leave room. Okay.
Okej, då kan vi kolla på matcherna igen.
Okej, ska de gå igång? Nu är vi på...
Ja, det är ett live-läget där igen.
Jag tror jag gjorde det, kanske. Jag tror jag är på rätt. Spela live-schack.
Live-schack där, ja. Så söka partier.
Jaha, söker igång.
Vi måste nog söka båda dessutom. För att det ska placera sig rätt.
So we have a Slav, I would say.
Wasn't this something
Slav?
similar to what we looked at earlier?
I think maybe not. Maybe he played 92 again. Could be.
Yes. Right, we can see. Yes, or not knight bd2 here, but well, it was not the same since the white bishop was on d3, but he managed to play e4 anyway.
Yeah, okay. I mean, black will always try to play against his pawn.
And right, Sasikiran will have to step up a little bit since he must win this one now.
He also kept a bit more time this time.
But this is isn't it very solid position for white here?
Yes, I mean, white doesn't have any issues. Maybe there is some ideas to get back the bishop, and then rook takes c6, another exchange sacrifice. But okay, it's not possible now. I mean, you have to see something about like your d4 pawn, which may be vulnerable.
We can go to this game also between Joel, Benjamin, and Tamin Abati. This is
A sharp way to play it.
Yes, very sharp line. Is this playable? Is it a pawn sacrifice from white, or was it just missed?
Well, I would say it's a sacrifice Because okay, I seem to have good compensation from the positional point of view, but the question is if it's enough compensation. Because okay, let's say bishop f6 and queen e2.
Yeah, the thing is that Nabat
Took. Maybe this is more clever and tries to go for the ending.
yeah, exactly. Try to exchange queens, perhaps, if it's. But maybe he will give a check here, I'm not sure, and play bishop f6.
He will.
And then in case of castle, you can also bring your king to safety.
Yes, maybe even considering to take on c3, but okay, maybe this e2, e6 is a bit loose and knight g5 idea, so maybe castle and knight e4. Some positional compensation still for white.
But it shouldn't be.
Crucial, of course.
No, you should not be worse with black here.
Okay, maybe still a bit queen e2.
No.
E4.
But I guess, okay, if you take maybe rook b1 and you don't want to let the white rook to the 7th rank.
Okay, probably just knight c6 and develop my pieces as quick as possible.
Maybe knight c6. You play queen d7 or?
That could be possible, but again,
Maybe you want to get back the pawn at least.
if I give back the pawn and therefore I will develop, it's not that bad.
No.
Okay, d6.
Uh-huh.
D4. Changing one knight is a good idea.
Well, since Nabat is happy with a draw,
Yes.
he can. Well, he would like to make the position a little bit
Easier.
easier, yes, with less material, perhaps.
Yes, difficult choice, bishop or pawn.
But knight takes d4 keeps some imbalance since, he keeps this bishop.
Yes.
And white is left with the knight. And maybe this bishop is really good.
Okay, knight g5 to
But
try.
then you can bring back the queen.
Queen e4.
And g6.
Queen h4. I mean, some tricks.
So this is the threat. Queen c7.
Likely queen e4. Okay, then.
You have to, yes, stay away from getting mated here.
No, but I have queen h3 and I win the exchange, no? Queen h3, you have to prevent.
Do you win? You win? No. Can
No,
you win the exchange?
I thought so, yes.
So did Nabati blunder here? You have to move one of these pawns and then knight e6.
Yes. Even though, okay, it's not like I can take on h3 and then I take back on f8 and I have a very strong bishop on d4. So it's not that simple, but yet it's an exchange.
Yes, knight e6, queen d7, and when you take, but you are an exchange down in that end game still. So that would be anyway good winning chances.
Yeah. queen
So risky play from Nabati here. I think if he
blundered it.
would well, if Joel is able to win this one, they will go to Armageddon, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's true. So
But okay, let's say I take on b2. You play
yes, I didn't see a
7.
reason for. Well, maybe you're not giving this one because of.
Rook b1 actually.
But of course, White. If White wants to win, he should keep some pawns on the board as well.
Mm.
Not. Well, he will need to keep pawns on the queen side, I suppose. But good, I think. Of course, good drawing chances for Black still.
Yes, the bishop is very strong.
We can go to this one. See what we left it here, right?
And okay, Yuri doesn't have much time.
Okay, so they only get 3 extra second per move now.
And some chances for Black to.
Yes. Can you take now, or is it risky? I mean, I wanted to enter with the rook on d2, perhaps. Maybe not. A knight e6, I suppose.
Yes, I mean the time is clearly in Black's favor. Even so, okay, if I play knight, okay, now this is positional.
Aha.
Ooh.
Maybe this was missed by Sasaki. It felt like it was not planned to give this pawn.
Yes, it's not the pawn you would like to give. Voluntary, let's say. The question is just how quick is Yuri with a mouse.
Black king is not completely safe anymore, I would say.
Mm.
Well, of course, you would like to bring the knight to f5.
Yes.
Can you take, or?
Well, you can. Question is how.
Bishop takes.
Yeah. This check could be.
It looks.
I take now on d4.
Can you even take on e6 with the rook?
Possible. And what
Is
happens?
Sasikiran going down?
Okay.
Or does he have this one? Well, I don't think Black can be winning.
Well, if not a miracle happens, it looks not in Black's favor, because you cannot allow yourself to play c3 because you don't close the diagonal. Queen e5, okay, knight f5. Or queen takes c4 is even more precise. Not to give that pawn. But of course, time
what
is
about knight f3?
was missed.
Maybe this is okay.
What happens after bishop d4?
Yes, I didn't want to allow this one. Knight f3 looked good.
Yes, but now, of course, why but this is strange. Why it was king g7 was not possible?
I thought the king g7.
Yes.
Because now, well...
It's not in danger.
We saw that Joel Benjamin actually managed to win this end game with some good technique, apparently. So that was not what. That was not the dream of Tamir Nabati, because they will keep playing and face each other in an Armageddon.
Yeah.
After the game between Sasikiran and Jakovic is finished. And we have the table on screen here as well. So keep in mind that Jakovic,
Time loss now. Oh no, there's
he
no.
will pass through this, or he's happy with a draw. A draw is sufficient to pass this stage.
But okay, the time is a big.
Yes, he must keep time on the clock. That's the only problem. That's
Okay, 7 seconds now, which is not that bad.
but you never know, right?
But now the king
Maybe
goes
he can have might get
92, knight of 3. It's possible.
yes. You have to play. You can play some quick moves here. You must increase the time here in order not to risk anything. But you can just move the rook back and forth. Knight d2 check is probably okay.
Was possible.
Not even necessary.
Rook e2. This will go on for a while.
Yes, but it will most probably end in a draw anyway. But of course, Sasikiran would like to give himself some chance to. Well, now he's down to 3 seconds, so he will have to make. He cannot forget about the time. Well, I think players in this tournament have just forgotten about the time, since it. Even Sasikiran himself lost on time in some equal position. I think.
Almost like it was a time loss, but now there is what?
He lost on time here.
Wow.
So that was not really what we expected. Of course, the position is still drawn because we will reach. We can reach this kind of Philidor
defense.
So they will. Okay, in that case, they will also play an Armageddon game.
Yep.
So we will have 2 Armageddon games running.
The standings are updated. Okay, so.
Yes, still Ralf Åkesson and Shemanov is the one. The 2 players.
This means that we will be doing drawing of lots. And,
yes. Are you prepared for?
I have in one of them a coin.
Yes.
So they just have to tell me if it's this one or this one.
And the one who gets, is it the star?
No,
a coin.
It's a coin. This time it's a coin. Because I'm not sure which kind of drawing of lots I did with Sashi before, so I thought like it's better not to repeat.
Aha. Okay. Oh, sorry. En annan inloggning upp.
Okay, so I'm putting Jim Joel and okay, you must have to go back to the live view. And I think he must have entered.
Yes. Hello? Can you hear us?
I can.
Det är något problem, det står att en annan inloggning upptäcks.
Ja, jag ska fixa det. Prata med spelarna nu.
Yes. Your game is tied and you will play each other in an Armageddon game now. Tamir, can you unmute so we can hear you?
Yes. Okay.
So Elisabeth have 2 boxes and
And one is a coin. The one who chooses a coin can choose the color.
Okay. So,
who would like to choose?
okay, I will choose
So,
Mhm.
okay.
the right one.
Is this one?
Yes, yes, from my side, the
I
right.
should do this one.
Yes.
Okay. There's nothing. So,
Okay.
Joel, here is
Right.
the coin.
Okay, so I choose the color for the game.
Yes.
Okay, I'll choose white.
And white plays with 5 minutes against 3. No increment.
Against
and,
3 or against 4?
A 5 against 3 is the
Okay.
special rules for this event.
American rules.
So white is good, actually. I would choose white too.
Yeah.
But you only need to draw the game.
You only have to draw the game now.
Okay.
Well, we have seen 2 Armageddon games so far, I think, and white won 1 and black drew 1. So it's not well, it's up to see. But when do the games start?
And after 60 moves, no increment still.
No increment
At all. Okay.
It's 5-3, no increment. Black wins on a draw.
Yes, 5 minutes against 3, no increment, not even after 60 moves,
Okay.
just 5 against 3 minutes. Black wins with a draw.
Okay, and we will start. Your game will start at 7. Their game will start at 7. Benjamin Nabati.
Okay, so your game will start at 7 o'clock Swedish time. So it's in 7 minutes from now. So
Okay. Should I leave the?
yes, you can leave this breakout room
Okay.
and stay until and wait for the round start in 7 minutes.
Okay. Later.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so they have to. Nabati has to leave the.
Yes, Nabati, can you
Press leave.
Tamir.
Leave room.
Just
Can
to
you
close,
press-
yes.
There's a button saying leave room
It's a lower right.
at the lower right on the screen. It should say leave room.
Lower right corner.
I wish I could find it.
In the lower right corner, it should be a leave room button. Yes, so
Okay, so we will put the other ones in for drawing lots.
yes.
Jakovic and Sasikira.
Well, hello. Can you, Krishna? Can you unmute?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yes, and we will get Yuri here as well. Hello, Yuri.
Okay, so explain to them what.
Yes, Yuri, will you unmute so we can hear you too?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm here.
So your match is tied now, and it will be decided in an Armageddon game. And we will draw the color. So Elisabeth,
I have a paper in my hand.
Yeah.
And you have to choose either number 1 or number 2. If you choose the right number, then you can decide the color.
Okay. Number 1.
It is number 2.
Mhm.
Can you see it? Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's okay. I believe you. I trust you. Sorry.
I should have done it a bit more clear, but I think it was possible to see now.
It's too much light.
Yes, it's too much light that it will take off the light, and now you see it.
Yeah, okay. I trust.
And that means
That means that Sashi can choose a color.
Yeah.
I'll take white. Yeah.
yes, and this means that Krishnan will play white with 5 minutes against 3 with no increment, and black wins with a draw. A draw is sufficient for black in order to pass the quarterfinal. And
when will start the game? At what time?
börjar de också 7?
De startar 7:10.
Your game will start 10 past 7, so it's in 13 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
So you can just leave this breakout room and wait 13 minutes.
Okay.
The round will start.
Yeah, so
Good luck to you.
thank you.
Krishnan har vit.
How much time more?
In 13 minutes.
13 or 13?
13, so 10 past. In
Past 7, yes.
10 past 7. In 12 minutes.
In 10 minutes, okay. Yeah.
12.
12, thank you.
So you can wait for your Armageddon game and just leave this breakout room here.
Skulle du kunna byta konto till det konto som står där, för Leo vill använda sitt till Title Tuesday. Så ni loggar ut och loggar in med det.
Okej, vad gör man det?
Loggar ut längst ner på den. Det är typ som ett kugghjul.
Inställningar.
Ja, och där loggar ut längst ner, tror jag. Och så loggar du in med det kontot som står där.
Vad fan står logga in då?
Till vänster, tror jag.
Logga in. Okej, jag borde vara inne på den nu.
Och så går det tillbaka som vanligt.
Yes.
Det här, ja.
Vyn är inte så rolig nu, eller?
Nej, jag måste fixa det.
Fixar du det?
Ja, jag fixar det strax. Vänta lite. Vi kan ligga kvar på... Vi ska bara starta med den partiet här.
Ja.
Så sekerar en vit, right?
Ja, men det var inte de som skulle börja nu.
Har du rätt i?
De skulle börja 10 över.
Okej, vem är vit och de andra?
Det var ju, vilka var det? Det var ju, ja, Joel, Benjamin.
Vem är vit?
Sorry, Elisabeth?
Yeah.
Joel is the one, is he gonna play black or?
Who?
Between Nabati.
Yubi is black.
No,
and
in
Nabati
the other game.
Nabati is also black.
Nabati is black.
Yeah.
That is black.
Yes.
You sure?
Yeah.
You're 100% yes.
Well,
Well,
no,
I
but
think
I
so.
mean, like I had the coin in this.
Yes, I think so
color and
too,
he
because
chose this one, and it was
he
Nabati.
tried to bargain 1 extra minute.
Yeah.
So Benjamin Joel is white, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the room is started.
Okay.
I have to fix the layout. I know, du kan inte göra nu. Vänta lite. Jag måste ta... Så här. Där. Kom igen, snälla. Custom. Bort med. Där. Background, light, sounds, ja, den är okej. Board, orange. Och den här vill jag ha, den som heter bases. Jag tror bara jag behöver göra det. Så, play live chess. Perfekt, nu kan vi köra.
Right, so the Armageddon game between Tamir Nabati and Joel Benjamin is
Starting or started?
just started. Fick jag inte upp det? Har det inte kommit upp här? Yes. But okej, vyn ändrades inte.
Nej, okej, kör på det.
Okay.
Fortsätt bara där.
Okay, we will have to see it from this view this time.
Okej, jag ska justera några saker. Jag måste stänga av den där analysgrejen bara. Så.
Right. So they're in the last game Nabati played.
The last game, actually, it was Joel who went with e4 and this time with e3, so he chose a more solid setup.
Yes. Well, it is a kind of variation of the Queen's Gambit accepted with the difference that this bishop is developed to g5, not being behind the pawn chain.
The time difference is already not more than 1 minute away. And we have a kind of typical Panov position.
Yeah, and this is the current position. Yes, some kind of Panov
Structure.
position. White had an isolated pawn, but now he's left with this 2 hanging pawns.
So he
and this was exchange sacrifice from black now, right?
Which, of course, I think White should accept.
So he didn't take the rook here.
He wants to checkmate. Makes sense.
Now, I guess rook g3, right?
Yes, and if you take on c3, I have maybe bishop takes g6, and then rook takes g6, and bishop f8.
This is
Yeah. So rook takes c3 will be answered with bishop takes g6.
But maybe you can play, I don't know, can you play knight b4? Queen c7. It looks dangerous.
But now it's at least not a mate.
Is it possible to take or not?
Well,
Can you take? Why
that's
not?
a question. I'm not sure. Because of king h8.
When?
I mean, I first accept everything and then king h8.
But I have bishop g7 check. If I take with the queen.
Yeah, but then I was so this and
I
then
mean, you take with the knight and then with the queen, and then you have the check.
the knight takes g6 now, and there's
Isn't
knight
this?
and knight e7, queen h7 is not a mate yet, so maybe I should take something on c3. But I have a checkmate with knight e5 check, bishop g7, and bishop.
Gave up the queen now, but
Only chance.
so will he have three pieces against the queen and a pawn maybe after h takes and you take the rook.
Knight takes f8 is very interesting too, but okay.
Immediately.
Not to accept the queen stuff and just to take on f8 with the idea of mate on h7. And I'm not sure that was a good move against it. But okay, this is...
This is rook and a piece. This was maybe clever because he got this one. But that means that black is doing fine, I guess.
I think you should have played knight takes f8 after queen takes g3.
Yes.
Because okay, black is better on time and on position, so.
But the black king is. But okay, white will have to win this game, so we need to create something. Well, it will be good to get this pawn, of course.
Yeah, but how? Okay, maybe rook e3 was possible. Some tricks and rook f3, but rook takes c5 is a threat. But it's not even a threat because I have a check.
Because you have the check here. We will have to watch the time here as well. Because there are
20.
No more.
Yes, no more increment. But even in the time, black is up now.
Joel is down to 16 seconds, so he will have to
play quick.
He's thinking now. That's not a good sign.
No, he shouldn't think here.
I believe that Nabati will
proceed,
win now. And that is probably... Yes, game over since Joel's time run.
And okay, the position is also not so great.
No, not probably lost. Yes, lost position as well. Well, we can go back to that position.
After queen takes g3, that was interesting. If I should play...
You mean
takes,
at this moment, right?
Yeah. There's queen takes g2 perhaps, and knight e3 check.
Like this?
Yeah. And this, of course, is changing the story.
Yes, one piece up for black.
There's no mate, yeah. That's the reason why I couldn't go for knight takes f8. So he escaped.
But did it make any difference if you do it like this or not?
Well, then I think like after bishop takes g6, I have king h8.
Så sticker de med vit en sista gång.
Yeah.
Stämmer det?
Yes. Sasikiran will be white.
Okay.
I think I have king h8 then. After bishop takes g6, there's king h8. I will take with the f pawn, probably. It's just a lot safer. And then king h8. I mean, not h takes g6, but f takes g6. Yeah.
Okay, so the game between Sasikiran and Yuri Yakovich is running now. So it was another dragon, but not with its h3 move.
Tamir won. No. Tamir Nabate won, right?
Yeah. You really have to play fast when playing black. Aha, another exchange sacrifice.
Yes, which looks also decent here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ja. Hur så? För han måste logga in då. Ja, så har man varit inne i ett rum så kan jag inte stoppa in i ett rum igen. Men han har varit inne i ett rum precis. Yeah. Okay.
Well, it was not optimal, like letting black sacrifice here once again. I guess knight takes c3 is coming.
Okay, maybe I can play bishop d3. And after knight takes g5, h4.
Okay, we saw bishop d2, but now
I take on d2 and I take on b3.
Ah, that was also...
That was just missed now, I think.
He's perhaps a bit stressed.
Okay, maybe he's too fast. But also this position, of course, is fine. But it was knight takes d2 and knight b3.
Yeah.
Almost like game over. So, but now it's not so easy how to.
Well, black can't be worse.
Yeah, but okay, black cannot really like move much. King g7 now.
Can you take here? No, okay, the rook. So the queen is left on b6.
Yeah, this wasn't played ideal. Okay, king g7 now. But yeah.
Maybe I should play rook d7 or something.
Okay, rook f8, which also makes sense.
So is he gonna play e6 or not? It's
not clear.
And take with the rook, but
okay, there's rook.
No.
Oh, he takes as a pawn even. Why not? Then push d5, but then there's rook f4 and rook f7 coming maybe. So
yes, I didn't really like to weaken my king like this.
Now there's also like bishop takes bishop e5. Yeah, but he has to exchange one rook to
But
not.
he will play h5 now, perhaps. No.
But rook c7 check is a threat. Not anymore. And now rook f8 should be played. Exchange one or knight, maybe even queen c6. Hard to say.
Queen c7, yes. You need to get this queen back into the game. Also.
Yeah.
Well, rook e3 is perhaps a threat now.
Yes, and it's not a convenient one. You should move. H6, king g8 has to be played.
Probably black is fine, but or
His, not sure that black is so fine.
Not anymore.
Yeah. He has to play d5, d4 quickly, but then there's also queen e4. Maybe now d4 is a good moment, but he might be mated.
He must push this pawn, right?
Now it's time to push the pawn. He should push it now. Okay, now d4. Now you should move.
Yes.
d3. Ah.
Maybe the time will decide this one as well.
Okay, but the time is almost equal now.
Yes.
d3.
Can you play d3? You don't really want to lose this pawn.
You mean to take d3? Okay, but well.
Wow.
d6.
Can play bishop g5.
Yes, but okay, the time now is a huge difference already again. Bishop f4 and queen b4.
Uh-huh.
Oops.
Wow, that was missed.
That was missed.
He should have brought his king to a7 perhaps.
Yeah.
So in your Benjamin.
Han åkte ju ut, eller?
Ja, precis. Men Tamir lämnade och han var okej.
Okej.
Du kan ta partiet först då.
Det partiet, jag har inte, då får jag hitta det.
Se vad som händer varje partiet nu.
Yes, so Krishna Sasikiran won this Armageddon game against Yuri Yakovich, which means that Sasikiran will play in the semi-final tomorrow, and Yuri Yakovich leaves the tournament here. And with us now is Joel once again, and you were not able to get him this time. I can't even find the game right now. What was your? How did you like this tournament? Was it? I was almost holding you for a favorite at some point.
Favorite?
Sorry, I was really enjoying it. It's just to be able to win those two games against such a strong player is really feels good. And that last game, I felt like I was on the edge of a checkmate, and the computer, the chess.com computer, says I didn't miss any wins, but it felt like it was sack mate, but it didn't turn out to be mate. But it was, I made a good try. It's really all I can ask of myself.
Yes, and I think Shimano pointed out that you are very low rated here. You have not played many games here, or
on chess.com?
Yes, on this site, right?
The only time I ever played on chess.com would be one season in the Pro League, and an exhibition match against I guess it would be Komodo. I've never played a blitz game on chess.com.
Detta partiet inte ligger där. Klickar jag ner i nederkanten. Ja, det var inte rätt parti där nere.
Det är något parti igång här.
And I think a lot of the things I played weren't rated as well. So, you know, even those unusual matches.
Kan gå till Joel.
Kan jag hitta hans
Gå
parti?
till hans profil där.
Yes.
GM Joel heter han.
I have trouble finding the games too.
Ska jag-
Jag tar den. We'll find the game here.
Should we try to look at your the Armageddon game here?
Yeah, we can.
If we can bring it up,
Yeah.
it will be.
Om du går in på hans profil så kan du scrolla ner sen.
Men jag får inte upp honom, eller? Han kommer inte upp.
Prova att söka igen. Backa lite och söka igen. Ska vi se. Okej.
För kommer den inte upp. Ja, men
Connect.
jag får inte upp, eller... I am having some difficulties right now, but...
Där.
Members.
Search. Okay.
Right. So we should have the game here. It looked far too sharp.
Well, I think one thing this match established is that neither one of us really knows how to make a draw with black. You know, so I mean, this was another wild game, and I played many isolated pawn positions, so I thought I could sort of rattle off the attack. I was kind of happy that I think there were some moments when, I'm not sure where he maybe could have played queen d5 and bothered me. Here I played queen f1 and then rook e3, but maybe on the next move. Or, well, I'm attacking. Yeah, maybe even here, queen d5. But of course, it's such a fast game. There's no time to think about stuff like that.
Perhaps you should, I don't know if you should take
Yeah, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. Because black is so solid, I think the only way to really win this game is by checkmate. Now, I think it's a credit to him that he didn't play rook e8. It's like an automatic move for most players. But,
yeah,
you know, with the rook on e8, maybe these sacrifices are easier to execute.
Yes. And it looked, well, very tempting, of course.
If he plays rook takes c3, then I think I can play bishop takes g6.
Wow.
That's what we actually discussed, I think.
I think that works. So.
Yep.
And then I could, well,
like this.
Yes.
I think that mates. Yeah, but the point is that if he takes the queen, I have a well, I think I have a mate there. Maybe
No,
it's a mate. Bishop g7, bishop s6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this, or
Yeah.
or was it
There was a quicker mate with bishop takes f7 and bishop g7. You don't take.
Oh, yeah. I saw that one, actually, yeah. But he plays queen c7, defending on the second rank. And, you know, I feel like it's mate, but maybe it just isn't mate.
Right.
But what else to do?
But maybe you should go for this anyway.
Well, I mean, I have different ways I can sacrifice. Like I could take with a minor piece and then take with a rook, or I could take with a knight and then take with a bishop. So I have different ways I could sacrifice. I didn't want to burn all my time thinking about it.
No.
I missed that, you know, that he'd have rook f6 at the end. But if I take with a knight and then the bishop, he maybe just goes king h8. I'm not sure that there's a mate. So that's why I did it this way.
If you play it like
King h8, we saw, right?
I didn't see an answer to that.
Right.
So now could I have tried to take, maybe I could try to take with the rook, sacrifice my rook. Can I play bishop? Can I play bishop g? No, not first. First with one of the other pieces. Let's say bishop. And then rook takes. Is there any chance? But even that he doesn't have to take that. I think I just didn't have a mate. It's very sad. I thought maybe something like c4 to try to open up the bishop on a3 hanging, but I don't know. If I'd seen the rook f6, yeah, I thought that I was winning at this point.
we tried to make this move work,
But queen takes.
but this one looked strong.
Oh, you know, I didn't even see that, but yeah, queen g2.
Because otherwise you have the mating threat on h7.
Yeah, although if he plays bishop takes f8, even then I'm not winning that position. But queen g2, of course, wins. Yeah. Oh, now I just forgot that he could just take two pieces. So I should have, you know, tried something like maybe knight e5 and then queen d2. But no, I mean it's not working for me, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah, this was very sad.
And of course you, well, actually you had less time.
That's the problem. Yeah. Once I went down on time, what to do?
Yeah.
And I can't make a draw anyway. So yeah, it's pretty hopeless.
I can just see the
I
last.
found, you know, a miracle way to stop the pawn for a few moves. I mean, not permanently, but then
But
I ran out of time.
at some point, I think you both had like 30 seconds. So I thought that you were gonna play really fast, but you started to think in the end as well. Of course, okay, the position was lost position.
Well, I was trying to find a way to threaten something, you know, but it's too solid. Yeah.
Yes.
So there it goes. But I mean, I was very, you know, I was very happy to win the game before a must-win situation, and I was in that game. I was really surprised by the opening. You know, it's such a sharp opening. When he, you know, I don't really have that sharp a repertoire, but you know, I was happy to mix it up there, and then I thought he had a fortress in the end game, and then I found this cheap checkmating idea. It worked. So
yeah,
I managed to take it to the Armageddon game.
I think we will try to bring in Yuri and Krishnan here.
Okay. Well, anyway, thanks for having me on. I'm thankful to be invited to this tournament. It was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you. It was a real pleasure seeing you here playing.
I look forward to watching the rest of the way. Okay. Bye.
Okay.
You can just tell him to press the leave button.
Yes, you can press the leave button. Well, he left. Okay. Congratulations, Krishna.
Thank you.
We should well, what you can tell us perhaps a little bit about the match overall between you two. It looked like it could have gone either way or something, or it looked very risky for you. Those two exchange sacrifices on c3 looked very scary.
Yeah, actually, the second game, I completely forgot my preparation. Yeah, this was supposed to be bishop h4 instead of going bishop d2. I mean, this was quite all right. After bishop h4, knight takes c3, and after queen d3, knight takes e2. I forgot that I had rook a e1 at this point. Yeah.
I will. Kan vi få upp det på det? Yes, I will try to bring up this. Sorry, this. Hur får man upp det på det? The Armageddon game here. Oh, sorry. Kan man stänga av den där datorn eller vad det är?
Jag vet inte riktigt.
Okej.
Okay.
So somehow we have the game here.
Yeah.
It's all fine. Yeah.
Right,
Just,
you played h3 in the other game, right?
This is okay. Yeah, this is okay. Just go until after rook c3, b3, and so on. Yeah, that was all right. Yeah. This is okay. Takes. Yeah, and here I should play bishop h4. Yeah.
But here you could
I
say.
just knight b3. Yeah.
Yes, no, knight take b2 is of course it's winning immediately. Here knight take d2, it's winning immediately. But the problem is knight take d2, queen take d2, queen knight take b3. It's completely winning position, 2 extra pawns, and completely. But the problem is that I completely have no practice in blitz on internet. So usually that's why I made move that I immediately see how I can improve my problem. But bishop h4, I don't believe this is what do you mean after bishop h4? Knight takes c3.
Bishop h4 now.
Knight takes c3, for example.
Yeah, queen d3.
Because of course I waited bishop h4. Knight take e2.
Knight takes e2, and here, I mean, during the game, I was thinking I completely forgot about rook e1. Yeah.
Yes, and for example, this position, knight c6.
No, I mean, I'm just saying that after knight d2 is completely losing for me, and this is just a game. Yeah.
And then bishop e5, and I believe black has a very good compensation for exchange, at least no worse. Yeah, no, I don't know. And no, okay, bishop d2 is immediately losing, but I immediately take on c3, but of course and immediately see that's knight take d2, it's completely winning. No, this position is, I don't know how to evaluate this position. Maybe it's around equal, but yes, rook f3, queen b6. Yeah. Bishop c4, and of course here I have to play d5, and I saw on rook d8 is incredible move after d5 again.
You can play d5 here, right?
Yes, black. Yes, of course, black has a better chance. And immediately after rook d8, I saw that d5 it's black is better here because of the 2 pawns and stroke bishop. Here. No, it's losing immediately. Yeah, no stone.
But the problem, it's difficult to move the queen, right?
Yes, it's difficult to move the queen.
I think after queen d5, it's kind of, I had some kind of control over the game, yeah.
Yes, queen d5, white is better here, but after e6 again, rook d8, probably it's, yes, and that here, okay, because of this time, and but after e6 again, black is okay, I believe. I don't know. It looks like okay, but maybe of course white has chances to win this position because of the weak black king, and yes. at least in this time control much more easy to play with white this kind of position, even if it's around equal. But this position, of course, in blitz, it's much better to play with white on this position.
Yes.
Difficult to
With
save.
king, it's always difficult to play.
Yes, of course. Of course, this position is difficult. Maybe it's.
Yes, but maybe it was not. I don't know. White made some mistakes here as well.
Mhm.
No, maybe yes. Of course, I have to move my queen before we play b3, and maybe it's again around equal. How I played e5, g4, bishop g5. Yes, rook f5, bishop f4, and
Like
of course after
here,
g5.
maybe you can.
No, queen b4. Queen b4 looks much more active, and here again I believe black has. No,
Yes.
I immediately played d3 and immediately saw rook f6, but okay. no, completely no points. Because queen b4 looks more active. And then, I don't know. I think black has enough counterplay in this position.
Yes, for a draw
Yeah,
at
draw,
least,
yeah.
maybe.
At least.
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay.
we will see Krishnan play the semifinals in the semifinals tomorrow, and can we perhaps get up the standings? I don't know. Do you know who you will play?
I don't know. It depends on the other matches, yeah. So
Shimanov will play.
Yeah, no, Ralf Åkesson.
Yes, he will play Åkesson, and Shimanov will play against Napati.
Yes, so only 4 players left. Okay, so, but we thank you also, Yuri, for joining this event. It was great pleasure seeing you and your.
I'm very glad to play in this tournament. I have very good impressions when I played in all Rilton Cups. I don't know how many cups I played. A lot. In all of them, I took good places, and it's very nice. I'm very glad that you invited me to play this invite tournament.
And
So,
can you recall which year did you win Rilton Cup?
Some around 2000, but I don't remember 99, 2000 or 2000, 2001. I remember it at 31st. No, I won first 4 games. Then on 31st of December, I lost completely winning position to Max Shane because my flag dropped down in 49 move, but because of the very strange clock. It was very good finish of this year. But then I continue and I won nice game versus Glaserov and somebody else and won. Okay, but I don't remember exactly when it was. No, around 2000.
Yes, and do you play much tournament now, or you work as a trainer mainly, or?
Yes, of course. Now I'm more training, and you know this. I don't like to play in internet and blitz. It's no okay, but probably it's the problem of my generation because I prefer normal chess on the board.
Right.
You see, it's not a good. Yes, but okay, I'm more trainer, but sometimes I play rapid and sometimes classical for teams, but this year, of course, is terrible. But I believe maybe next year will be better than now.
Yes. Okay, so I think, well, we will have to sum this up, this broadcast for today, and well, we won't see you anymore in this event, Yuri, but I guess we will have to wish you all a good new year,
Yes, and of course,
in case we won't see each other anymore in 2020.
Yeah.
And you will not be with us anymore, Elisabeth, too, right? Or
No, I'm leaving.
yeah, so this is where you leave us as well.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Good New Happy New Year to everybody. Yeah.
A Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for watching, and we will be. Well, I will be here tomorrow commentating the semifinals.
Together with Pia, I guess.
Yeah. Pia Kramling will be back here with me. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Okay. Bye.